Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Vibing with Sleezy, the podcast. This is season 5, episode 10, and I want to thank everybody for listening, tuning in, and downloading. It's been a great season so far. I want to thank everybody that's been supporting, and like I mentioned on episode 9, the sports episodes are really still getting a lot of downloads. So shout out to that March Madness and baseball episode. Also want to thank my last guest, Rico, for being on. He killed it, and it was really well done. And we're hopefully gonna work on something sports related in the future. And I'm wishing him the best in all of his home rehabs and construction. Also, want to thank everybody that promoted that episode. Shout out to Mary Jarrett. Shout out to a lot of people that are mutual friends of both of us. That episode got a lot of love and a lot of shares. So nothing but good things there. Also, exciting announcement where I'm recording, which from my place, I finally got my furniture. I have been sleeping for 3 weeks on a bed and living out of a chair because the furniture company, I had to get rid of the old furniture, but they had somewhat of a delay and some stuff getting in. But it's here, and my furniture's here, and now I'm finally happy about that, and it's comfortable, and it's the way to do it. So, but anyways, so back to the podcast, and I have a very special guest, someone that has been on every season. I think he's now haven't done the official count. It might be 4 or 5 episodes now that he's been on. We have every time we do an episode, it's very well done. I like that we talk about random things. So my special guest is none other than the best barber in the city and one of the J Town legends, in my opinion, Frankie Blice. So,
Hey,
what's up, bro? How you doing?
what's up, man?
So, I'm really excited to have you back on.
Thank you.
Every season, I always look forward to having you on. What's hilarious? I told Horse Girl this. Shout out to Christine Hernandez. You and her are the two people that every season I'm like gotta have them on. They just it just those are the two people that are my go-to regulars. So I just wanted to give you that shout out.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it's always fun to come on. I mean, we go back so long that it's an easy conversation to have, and there's always new shit going on in
Always
the world and our lives, and so yeah, we're, you know, one of my best friends. So
I appreciate it, bro. Same to you, man. You're
I'll
one of
be
my
out
best
here
friends.
anytime you want, bro.
I appreciate that, man. Same to you, man. You're one of my best friends, and like I said, I really appreciate you always coming on and taking the time. Um, I want to get off to a few topics. The main topic I want to talk about is Vybe Trib3, of course, and that is what I want to highlight. But there's a couple things I want to talk to you about before we get into Vybe Trib3. So the first thing I got to talk to you about something that number one, I just like I said, I'm all about praising my guests. I got to give you your flowers on this, man. I got to give you your praise. You taking the time to coach the youth is huge, man. And you doing that, taking the time to do that, making the sacrifice, and also, working with parents and players and emotions and politics. The whole shebang of coaching and basketball. So
Right.
I just gotta say, man, that's awesome. You do that.
Yeah, thanks.
So you are a coach in Optimist basketball, and so fill me in. What teams have you coached? Kind of what's your coaching career here run? What's your
Well, so I don't even know where to start. So obviously, I was not I was not ever in a place in school days to be eligible to play for anything, right? I made like TMS's team when I was in middle school, and then after that, I kind of started getting into the wrong things and didn't ever focus on basketball. But basketball was like my best sport, and really as an adult, I got even more into like you know the, the the detail of the game more so. And I've played more basketball as an adult than I did even as a kid. Uh, so I always wanted to coach, and my girl's brother-in-law is Shane Maines, and he runs the J Town Youth League. And
shout out to Shane?
shout out Shane. So me and her have been together. Uh, But we got together back in like 2020. So I've coached for 4 years now. Billy Blakely's my assistant.
Shout out to Billy. Shout out to Billy.
Shout
Gotta
out to
shout out to
Billy.
Billy. Billy's a
And
legend.
congratulations to Billy because Billy just announced that him and his wife are pregnant.
Woo!
And they're gonna
Nice.
have a baby. So congratulations to my guy Billy.
I've been knowing Billy since probably as long as I've known you. And
Yeah.
Billy's a genuine dude, a great dude. And Billy could hoop. Billy and I used we hooped, and Billy and I played in that it was at McDonald's 3-on-3 thing, and then we played in some like New Albany hoop classic. But yeah, Billy could hoop. So shout out to Billy.
Yeah, Billy. Me and Billy. I've known Billy as long as I've known you, and
And he's tall. Man, he has grown. He's grown over the years. My boy Billy is tall.
But we got even like we've known each other since as long as I've known you. But we weren't as close back then as I was with you.
Yeah.
And but I've cut his hair for years, and then like whenever I was looking into coaching and start, it was easy. He wanted to do it, and we've done it ever since. We are taking a break this next year because he is having a baby and everything. We were already planning on taking a break, but no, I mean,
but the dynasty is going to be back. I have a feeling it's going to be back. Yeah,
but I think what I like about coaching the most, and what really made me want to do it, is like teaching life through the game. You know what I mean? Unselfishness, confidence. All those little things that you can relate to kids in their regular life. And I think that's why we've gotten such positive feedback when we're doing it. We've really never had any bad parents. We've never. I can't think of one time.
That's a blessing. That's a blessing.
We've ever had. And I hear all these crazy stories, and I won't name names, but there are some coaches at that. It's a youth optimist league, right? So I'm doing something for kids that's about them 100%, right?
Yeah.
A lot of guys that are up there. There's a lot of really good coaches. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of guys that think that they're Rick Pitino and John Calipari, and they are. I even understand at that age, which is like middle school, and I also coached my stepson Will in first and second grade also. So like the past 2 years, I've coached 2 teams, and I've had a young team with my stepson, and I've had the older team where me and Billy just coach because we like it, and they at like the AAU level, I totally understand. It's like it's much more of a competitive league, and the coaches that are a little bit more intense than what we are. My thing is positive reinforcement and confidence building. You know what I mean?
Because optimism is never gonna. It's not always going to guarantee talented players. It's guys that get out there and play the game and know the game. And
Everyone's got a couple good players. Everyone's got a couple that might be their first time ever playing.
You're gonna have mixed talent when it's a league that people are signing up for.
Yeah,
that's just common sense.
But that's and that's why we do it. It's fun to do, and we've coached one player every year.
I mean, it's kind of realistic if you think about it. It's like the NBA when the bench comes in,
when
the rotation. That's what makes it fun.
But as long as you're trying to make sure that everyone is getting better from what they are at the beginning, and you're trying to build a team structure, that's all we're trying to do, right?
Having fun and building a team.
Depending on what players we have, what type of size and everything we have, we're gonna, play different types of defenses, which is the most intricate that I really get, to be honest, because you only get one practice a week, you have one game a week, for 9 weeks until a tournament. So it's really a building blocks, you know what I mean? But you have to play defense first. So if I have a few different defenses that I can throw out, depending on my personnel, that's beneficial. And I'm also very lucky that I had Max Nash. Shout out to him. He's an 8th grader at St. Martha, and we've got to coach him every year, and he plays for St. Martha. So our first year, every division's 2 different grades, right? So the first year we coached was 5th and 6th grade, and he was a 5th grader. After that year, which we won the championship that year, after that year, he was in 6th grade, but he wanted to play up. So we went to 7th and 8th, and we've coached 7th and 8th grade for 3 years.
I like that.
So in
I like that confidence.
Yeah, in 6th grade he played for 7th and 8th. So he played in that league for 3 years in a row. So we
Mm-hmm.
coached him in fifth grade, sixth, seventh, and eighth. We won 2 championships, which were extremely fun. But we have fun with them no matter what. Like the kids, in the short time that you're around them, they just have a whole lot of energy. They're goofballs. They'll make you laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And this last team we had, we had a good team. They ended up losing to the number one seed in the second round, but it might have been my silliest team all around. They just fun to be around, goofed off and stuff until it was time to be serious, and they played extremely hard
Mm-hmm.
whenever that time was. But they were real loose and fun to be around. Um, but yeah, just teaching life through the game and like uh, just being able to be unselfish for the next guy and understand what a team really is
Mm-hmm.
and no one person can make it happen. Everyone has to play a certain role, and you got to know yourself also,
Yeah.
which is a easy way that I can relate to them is by being honest about certain things, right? So I tell him, I'm like Billy was a scorer.
Mm-hmm.
Like Billy, he'll drop 30,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That
And I
was
was
how they
like,
played. Yeah.
but I'm like, I'm more of a role player where I'm gonna play within something. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna shoot some shots, stretch defenses out, play within our team. But but I know that about myself.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if I don't,
Yeah.
and I think I'm Billy, and I'm trying to go. If I want to just be a all around guy that I can just do a little bit of everything.
That's not your skill set. You
Yeah,
want to
you want me to?
be.
I need to play
Yeah.
defense, and I need to shoot some threes. You know what I mean? And then I
Mm-hmm.
need to feed the post after I've stretched it out a little bit. Like I can do that. That's what I'm good at. Playing within the team. I'm a good passer all around. If I thought I was Billy
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna try to shoot 20 shots a game,
You'll lose again.
gonna lose.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to relate to kids without them taking it to heart.
Mm-hmm. You
I'm
make it
like,
relatable. You got to
yeah,
make it
I'm like,
relatable.
we got a couple great ball handlers. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, that's who needs to be holding, taking the ball up and doing certain things. Other than that, we need to swing the perimeter, shift defenses, try to get lanes to drive. It's just at that stage, it's an easy game to coach because it's
You
simplified.
do
You know what I
you did
mean?
you see a lot of friendships built with these kids
Oh yeah,
that like because
yeah.
a lot of times they're strangers.
Well,
They're meeting for
it's
the
fun
first
too
time.
because kids can sign up together. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
okay,
So
okay.
sometimes, like this year, I had two kids, Holden and Seba, that were friends already, and they came in, and you can tell that they're friends because they're all
Mm.
like hyped for each other when they do stuff.
Yeah.
But we try to teach things like that all the time. Like things that you'd be taught at higher levels. Also,
Hmm.
help your teammates up. Always, keep each other engaged in the game. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
Kind of have a leadership role within who you are, no matter what role you're in.
You can
If you
do.
see someone,
You can be beneficial to the team.
yeah, you have to, take ownership of the team that you're on. And but yeah, I mean and that's what parents really appreciate about us is our confidence and our positivity. We're not out here screaming at kids.
Yeah. Hmm.
Now say like my best couple players,
Hmm.
they know who they are. I
Yeah.
can be a little harder on them. Still not screaming at them.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
but they, it's just there's levels to it. Somebody that I've had kids that haven't played before.
Hmm.
And I just have patience. It's just like trying to give them moments to try to go and put
Yeah.
the ball in their hands where they can do something with it and give them opportunities. Um, but it's mostly just about making sure that everyone feels like a part of something with different roles. Some kids they can't dribble at all.
Yeah.
They're
Hmm.
just I'm just like if you're open, shoot it.
Yeah.
I was like you just have to shoot it confident. Shoot it with confidence, just like you do in practice. I was like, don't let all this noise and everything affect you. But that's like life too.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
if you worry about all the chatter around you and
Hmm.
everything that's going on and what people say and what people think, that's gonna hold you back ultimately
Yeah.
in doing anything that you want to do. It's just about being level headed and playing with confidence. Ultimately, like you got a lot of kids. It's just simple stuff that you can relate to.
Hmm.
Relate with them. And get them in the right mindset.
Yeah. No. Totally. And I just I know it's got to be fun, and they all got the different personalities. I got to tell you, because we're talking about Optimus, I got to tell you a few funny Optimus stories. So,
Sure.
I was a hooper, and I played middle school ball at Myers, and I remember sixth grade. I made the team, and I played, and I was fun. But remember my dad was like, "Hey, it'd be cool. Like you can play Optimus too. Like we should play Optimus and you play ball." My dad didn't want to coach; he just wanted to
Right.
sign me. I said, "Hey, that'd be great. I love ball. Like let's do it." So
Yeah, and that's why it's beneficial. Uh, Go ahead.
but what's
I'll
funny
figure
about
out
it? But
story.
what's funny is my dad would shout to my dad. He had confidence in me, and it was fine. But it's hilarious. He goes, "Hey, I signed you up, but they were out of spots for sixth grade, so I just put you on an eighth grade team. Is that cool?" I said, "Well, yeah, like I'm sixth grade, but okay." So I'm kind of nervous when I show up to practice. I don't know what the fuck happened, but it was Fern Creek Optimus. I'm playing for Myers. I show up. I swear to God, my whole team shack. I got fucking 6'10" guy, 6'7" guy, fucking 6'1", 6'2" guy. I played, the even time because it's Optimus, but I'm out there, dude, the whole time just feeding the fucking post, bro. And so what's hilarious is we won the championship with this big ass team. So I told my dad, I was like, you you got to think about the where is it, bro? Yeah, no, you're good. Hold on, hold on, real quick. Okay, we're back. So there's a little party foul. There's always some party favors going on at
Party
Vibing With
foul on the
Sleazy.
pod. I fucked up.
Frankie fucked up. Frankie fucked up. Luckily,
Dropped the
we
blunt. But
we were
not on the new couch.
not
Not
on
on
the
the
new
new couch.
couch.
I dropped
No,
the blunt.
no.
It might have singed a couple little hairs on the carpet, but nothing that no harm, no
I
foul. I
got down
fucked
there and
up
I
though.
I pulled up it burnt the little tip of the top of the carpet. There's a little black mark, so I pulled up that piece of carpet, and luckily to where the couch sits, it sat over that spot. But it was an easy pull. I pulled it, and we put the couch back, and everything's good. So yeah. But anyways, it's just you got to realize it's that panic. I'm gonna go back and like edit, but just to explain why it might sound edited, I never edit on this show, but uh, it's basically a case where it might sound a little weird, where there's like a pause because we were kind of like
Yeah.
here's what
We
it
had to
was.
jump up, move the table, move
We
the
thought it was
couch.
just a quick grab. It was a slow panic, and then we're both. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, we're both pretty strong, big guys. But here's the deal: we realized, oh, it's one of them newer couches where they put some extra wood in there. Fuck, it's a little heavy, so we had to do an extra lift.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so we had to go Hogan, and then we got the recording. Oh, then I'm like trying to pause it while I got the one arm, and it's a
We got
lot
that
of
old man strength now.
yeah, yeah. I actually saw a meme that was really funny where it said it was talking about people's exes or whatever, and it was like instead of calling them your old girlfriend or old boyfriend, it's calling them your great great girlfriend or great great boy. I was like, that's hilarious. But anyways, back to my Optimus story. So
You won the championship.
so we won the championship of the Fern Creek team. I thought that was hilarious because I'm like, my dad signs me up for eighth grade, and then I get the squad, and then eighth grade was awesome. So eighth grade was fun. I played for Myers still, but I ended up playing AAU and I played Optimus, and got to play All Stars. And what was fun with that eighth grade team, you talked about coaches thinking they're Rick Pitino.
Mm-hmm.
My coach for the league was so good and so serious. I'm telling you, one of the best coaches I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And his son was terrible, but he was so focused and laser sharp. And dude, I listened to this dude. He ended up being my all-star coach.
Yeah.
And he was great. And he wore the same fucking shorts, these little shorts, and he had those baseball t-shirts. And dude, he had the hair, and he'd be telling us quotes from different coaches. He'd bring out the quotes every practice. He was so serious. He was having us run presses. I was like, I told my dad, I'm like, this dude could coach,
Mm,
but I thought that was wild because I didn't expect that in Optimus. Like
right.
for that coach to be better than my own middle school coach.
Hmm.
And then the third little story I just tell you, it's hilarious. So Corey Williams, somebody that we mutually know, went to high school with.
I just saw him the other day.
Yeah,
Actually.
yeah. I just actually texted him today something I saw on eBay about the Cubs, but he's he was a hooper and he hooped Optimus.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wasn't hooping during this time. This is when he was younger. But what's hilarious is Corey was the Rasheed Wallace of J-Town Optimus around third or fourth grade. He wore goggles. He got thrown out of maybe 3 or 4 games
Mm.
for just rough playing. I think just flying into cast and hard fouls. So it's just it cracks me up because I would used to when I be hanging out with Corey, I see the pictures in his room, like the old team photos and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, "Oh yeah, man, I got thrown out a few games and shit." So I always like just I've played with Corey a million times. We've gone back and forth. He's always played physical, but I just it would be so hilarious to be a fly in the room to see that guy with goggles just getting thrown out of a fucking Optimus game in like
Right.
fourth grade. Like I would just love to have seen that. Like that would have been so epic.
Yeah.
So I thought about that story when we were talking about Optimus. So I just had to tell a few.
Oh yeah, I got a funny.
But Optimus is fun.
Funny
Optimus
stories.
is fun.
I got a few funny stories.
Tell us something.
So, well, first of all, I want to shout out. So we were talking about like playing when you play for your school or you play for AAU team, but you
Yeah.
also play for a Optimus League on the side. So
It's like legal for middle school. Yeah.
Well, so that's what Max does because Max, uh,
You said St. Martha, right?
yeah, and he's nonstop. He wants to just go, 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 and he plays that way. And
Where's he going to high school? Have you heard? Is he going to go private or public?
I'll be honest, it's private. He's either going to St. X or Trinity. I always forget. I mix the two up.
Do you think I'm not like acting like you're one like a high school guy or something, but do you think he can make the team?
Oh yeah,
At a
I
private
think
school?
Max can. Yeah. So one of the coolest things that I've got to do in the 4 years was last year um, we won our second championship last year, and I got to coach Tim Benitez Jr.
Oh, okay.
So
That's awesome.
I've known his dad since we were sophomores in high school. Tim Benitez, and rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Tim.
God rest his soul. That's my guy. And I've known little Tim since he was a baby. I remember whenever him and Kayla was living in the apartments that when Tim was little, and I would see him as a baby, and so I've known Kayla as long, um, and like just uh, coincidentally, I cut my dude Mark McLean, who is Tim's stepdad. So he's married to Kayla now. They have a daughter. So Tim's mom, Kayla, and stepdad Mark are my friends also.
Mm-hmm.
So I've kind of just known Tim his whole life. And last year he was in eighth grade at St. Edward, and he played for the team. So like one of the good things about someone like Tim is for St. Edwards, he's more of a role player. Like he came off the bench and he was like a defensive kid, this long and can do a lot of different things. Um, but they were so deep and so good. I don't think he saw the minutes that he really could have got other places. Which when go to Optimus, obviously it's a level below what you're going to play in school, but you have more control and you can do more things. You have more of a leadership role and a starting role that you can you know, try things out on the court in real time and do things with a coach that's you're the guy on the team. Like
I'm not gonna lie. When I played Optimus compared to middle school, the middle school coach,
mm-hmm.
I was tall. They just expected me to be in the post whole time,
mm-hmm.
and I did that, and that's where I developed support. But Optimus, I'm like, give me that ball. I ran point. I be playing like Kobe, scoring, and that's how my eighth grade Optimus. I probably dropped 20 a game because I was gunning. I was playing because you had that ability. Like I'd rotate, but it was such a difference in level, but also it's to benefit what you said. You had that freedom to kind of showcase what you had. And to be honest, Optimus is actually where I met Coach Morrow. He was there at J Town, running the facilities and stuff like that. He saw me play. And then when I told him with the Seneca, he was like, oh boo, like I
Mm-hmm.
can't believe go to Seneca. And then when I came back to J Town, that's how me and him reconnected. So I just remember he would be at games, so it was like Optimus could really showcase if people came and watched.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's definitely useful for anybody. Somebody that would be the best player on the team, or somebody that's never played before that wants to just get experience and wants to just be a part of something. There's nothing better than that, even if you don't have a whole lot of experience. Just making friends along the way and learning a little bit and having something to set goals about throughout a season with the tournament at the end and all that. So,
You play a Bluebird, right?
yep,
Okay.
yeah, but
Bluebird facilities, shout out to that, man. That has been a staple in J Town, staple in my childhood, a great facility. And
they just got new rims and everything up there.
oh, nice,
They got new
nice.
floor a few years back. They keep on making it nicer. Shane does a good job with that, and City of J Town. Uh, yeah, I mean I love it. It's a fun atmosphere. Um, the games get crazy. It gets real deep in there during the playoffs. Parents are involved. I'm tunnel vision. It's
Mm.
funny because me and Billy talk about it all the time after games, and he'll see things going on with either like opposing parents or our parents, and I don't see any of it. I'm just like I don't know. I don't see anything going
You're
on,
laser focused.
and I've been kicked out of a few games. I've gotten some texts here and there.
Okay, so explain that. How's that go down?
It's quick. I
Because I
mean,
haven't. I'll
I
be
get
honest.
along.
When I played, I didn't see many coaches get texts.
Yeah,
I'm not calling you out. I'm just
yeah, yeah.
saying.
Well, I'm like what most coaches, you don't really care how the whistle goes as long as it's both ways. So, and it's not like I think anybody has anything out for us whenever
Yeah.
those things happen. It's just the heat of the moment. My guys are getting obliterated on one end, and we're getting a bad whistle on the other, and I can't. And after like it's only happened a few times. Like I've coached for 4 years. I think I've probably gotten I've probably gotten four texts maybe all time
Okay.
and tossed once. You know what I mean? Because
Okay.
and that was two texts out of the four. So
How's the tossing go?
it's just I just kept talking.
No, I'm saying how's that go? Like,
I
do
stood
they?
out.
You just leave the facility?
You just walk outside. You just gotta walk outside. You
You
know?
can still be there.
Yeah, I was outside
Did they make sure you went
watching.
outside?
Um, I don't know. I mean,
How WWE did you
I
feel?
probably just went out. I probably just went outside to get some air anyway. So like, I don't think if I would have just went out into the
This
concession
has to be
area,
hype right now. Like, this is
if I would have just
awesome.
went out to the concession area, I doubt they would have like been like, nah, bro, you got to go farther. Like, but I went outside and I watched the rest of the game from like the window of the door, the side door. I'm just like,
That's.
I'm just like peeking in.
Oh my God! This is amazing.
Because like most coaches would go in the fucking like real coaches, right? Like real coaches would go in the locker room, watch the game. Ain't no TV. Like I got to see what's happening.
I got to show you a clip after this podcast. The Mets coach who got thrown out of a baseball game and he put on a fake mustache and came back in the dugout. And that's what I'm picturing you right now. This is the fake stash looking through Bluebird window.
Or like if I went home and shaved my beard off and showed back up, it was like, what up, guys? Like, yeah, you don't know who this is. Same clothes, just walked over to the bench. But yeah, I mean,
Hey, what's
when I
up? I'm
got
Hank. I'm Hank.
like, so I get along most.
It'd be like that Damien Sandow deal at
Yeah,
WWE where he had the shaved beard and
yeah.
his character.
I get along with most of the refs up there. Like, I always forget his name because I just know him because he's Ray Spalding's dad.
Oh
Like,
yeah, yeah.
he's a ref up there. He's really cool, and we always like kind of
Banter.
yeah. It's just fun.
Friendly, right? Yeah.
No. I mean, there's no banter for back and forth with him at all.
Oh, okay.
He's really cool, and like he'll even admit some. You know what I mean? If like something's going some way, because they have two refs, right? They have two refs in these games. One's at one end of the court, the other's at the other. Neither of them cross half court, so they're both just staying from half court to the baseline in either direction. So if one ref on the other side ain't calling something and he's on the other side, they'll be like, look at me like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But Yeah, there's been times where I've like, there's a couple of reps that I just think they're just lazy, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
I get it. They're refing Optimus games, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and most of these refs all ref in like high school and middle school, and they do other things. So they're coming out here and they're making whatever they're making for a couple, you know, for how many games they're doing that night. I get it, you
Mm-hmm.
know, but yeah, there's just been times where I think I called someone like I was like, "You're sleepwalking out here," like,
Mm-hmm.
and then he like told me to sit down. He gave me a tag, and he said something about like told me to keep it up, and I just said something back, and he was like, "Oh, you're out of here." So it's just quick, you
Yeah.
know. My last game that I just played in, I got into it with the opposing coach, but it was just some unsportsmanlike stuff at the end of the game that I didn't appreciate. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And nothing like we kind of argued at the end of the game, but nothing really
Like
happened.
Bulls Pistons early '90s kind of deal.
It was about to be like Malice in the
Oh
Palace.
jeez. Oh shit. Pacers Pistons. Okay. Okay.
I had my parents running down from the stands, and then we had league officials like breaking us up.
I
But
love it.
but,
Oh my
you
god.
know, I was just pissed because see what happened was their best players was out there with a minute left
Oh, gunning.
doing under the leg layups on my team, right?
That's fucked up.
And they're up 10, the
Mm.
game's over, right?
Yeah.
You know, and the coach he ain't say nothing, he ain't stop him. So I was like, all right, that's how y'all want to be, you
Yeah.
know. And then we just did, but
You got to stand up for your team.
yeah,
Well, like,
I don't let for example, I don't let my team shoot. If we're,
mm,
you know, I've had the best team a couple times up there. It's if they're not if they're up 10 with a minute left,
mm,
they're holding the ball. But you can foul us or you can let the clock run.
yeah.
You know, like I'm not gonna sit there and run the score up on someone or be disrespectful because it's about the kids. It's not about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not about the other coach. These are kids out here that want to play basketball that wouldn't like otherwise play anywhere
Mm,
for the most part.
yeah.
Some of them play other places, but for the most part, 90% of that league is kids that ain't playing nowhere else. So it's about them. So I teach them sportsmanship, and I would appreciate it on the other end because I don't understand why you're an optimist trying to embarrass other kids.
Yeah,
You know what I
no,
mean?
that's true for sure. And I'm glad you stood up. I've been okay, so my for me playing, I played, like I said, Myers Middle, and then I played for Seneca, and then I played for J Town. The only time that I got thrown out of a game, I was playing Fern Creek, I was playing for Seneca. I fouled a guy really rough. We were both going back and
Both
forth.
90.
I might have just hacked him pretty well. I was down playing the four, and then he did some to me, and then I fouled him again, and then next thing you know, I'm out the game. And I remember
You was
Tony.
headhunting?
I was
You was
going for this motherfucker, and
you was
Tony.
headhunting?
Yeah, and here's the deal with Fern Creek. Shout out to Hilton Bernard's dad, Coach Bernard. He uh, he was coaching for. I think he was one of the coaches of Fern Creek or whatever. But I just remember I knew guys on Fern Creek and everything, but I just remember it was that game. It was real rough, and Coach Branch was like real disciplined about that. But then what's hilarious? I go to J Town and I play basketball and baseball at J Town, but it's off season and there's a couple days off. There's no practices or any training, and I get a call from a friend that says, "Hey, my old friend Seneca said, hey, we're having a field hockey game. You should come out. We're playing Atherton. They're probably not any good." So I come out and I'm like, oh, just drive right over after school. I drive over there. Games at 4 o'clock.
Why they say that about Everton? Just because
Is
they're
Atherton?
not good at anything.
They're not good at it. Like, shout out to Jack Harlow. I know that's a school, and I know they're good at soccer. They were good at soccer, and Justin Cloud. Shout out to him. He was a really good athlete. But here's what's funny about Justin Cloud. He played for Manual for a while, didn't play much. Transferred to Atherton. Motherfucker's a star on every team. I think that fucker was playing tennis. So shout out to him. But I always thought about it. I was like, man, but Seneca, and when I played for Seneca in J Town, I always think back. I'm like, what were your best games, Eric? Always against Atherton. So it just was great. I mean, even it was just fun playing them.
So you went to play field hockey at Everton?
No, no. So I went to go watch. I went to go watch the girls,
I
and
thought you
and
were
and
playing.
a girl. No, no, no. I got invited to go watch. So I had some off time during training. I come over to Seneca. They got a little field over by the elementary school. Seneca's actually going to get torn down and get rebuilt, but there's like a little.
Seneca?
Yeah, they're going to redo. They're going to build a new Seneca. It's done. The old one is gone. They did the little walk the halls for people and shit like that.
Seneca High School, they're tearing down.
Yeah, they're gonna rebuild a new one.
What?
Yeah, right there in that spot, that
Where?
little area. They're gonna tear the elementary school down, build Seneca there.
They're gonna tear Goldsmith down.
Yeah, they're gonna tear all that shit down.
So Goldsmith and Seneca's gone.
Yeah, and I think they're building another Goldsmith in a Seneca, but Seneca's definitely getting rebuilt. They invited some alumni by to do some walks.
Where are all those kids going to school in the meantime?
I'm not sure about that.
That's crazy.
I'm not sure, but that happened.
What's wrong with Seneca?
Well, I think just the school probably, there probably was asbestos and shit, and that shit was old, but
Man.
and probably wanted to get rid of a lot of those Indian artifacts. So anyway, so out of nowhere, the thing about it too is, so I go to the field hockey game, and there's a bunch of girls I know that play, friends still to this day, and I'm cheering them on, and I'm like, hey, I go to J-Town, but I can show my girls for Seneca some love, so I'm cheering them on. Well, the goalie for Atherton, I'm not lying, is fucking 5'10", and it's like 300 fucking pounds.
Damn.
And I'm like, this isn't fair. And they're giving it to Seneca. And Atherton's up. And I'm like, it's 8-3. So I go, and so here's the deal. I didn't know field hockey refs wore pink.
Right.
So I scream out, hey, Pink, can we get an advantage? So the girls at Seneca.
Did you make that up, or did they really call it?
I don't really know what an advantage meant either. I just wanted some
like
help.
I know you call umps blue in baseball, but like is pink really what you call it?
I don't know, but here's the deal.
Made that up?
I just made that up. There's probably a good 30 fans around the bay, and everybody's standing. It's like standing room only in the grass. And so then I get up, and so Pink looks over at me. He kind of looks at me like, I've never had anybody talk shit to me. Well, next thing you know, the girls at Seneca walk by, and they go run by, and they go, yeah, good job, Eric. So I think they're liking that. So I'm like, I keep giving it to Pink. Hey, Pink, you're fucking blind out there, man. I'm like, get off your knees. And so next thing you know, when I screamed this, I got immediately thrown out of the game. And I got this is what's crazy. So I'm thinking of shit that I yell during baseball. Like, you're blinder than a fruit bat. I've seen better hands on a snake. Like that kind of shit. But I can't yell that at a ref. So then I'm thinking to myself, what is something I can yell at the ref? So I scream one. And I've already had like 2 warnings by Pink. He's came over and said, hey, watch your mouth. And I'm like, you don't know me. And, I'm some kid from, and I'm thinking, he can't do nothing to me. So then next thing you know, I go, get off your knees, ref. You're blowing the game. He fucking stops the game. I'm escorted out. All the girls from Seneca are like, fuck, stop. So then it backfired on me. Now everybody's mad at me. So then I get escorted to my car by Pink. And he's like, you need to leave the facility. Don't ever come back. And I was like, you don't know me. And then I literally get in my car and I'm driving down fucking Pikes Lane. And I'm like, that was not good, Eric. I need to like do better stuff in my off time.
Hey, you know what's funny? You know what's funny about all that? Like funnier than all that? It's that like it's hilarious hearing you say all that, and I know what you mean when you say Pink, but it kind of sounds like you're talking about the pop star Pink. So you're like, so I'm escorted in my car by Pink, and like in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I'm envisioning Pink.
Yeah,
it's a pop star. Escorting you out.
Like a pill. And I'm like, I get into the car like, quit singing to me, bitch. So I'm going in on. So I'll be honest, that was probably one of my. Here's the deal. I went to one more field hockey game when J-Town played Seneca, and I kept it more quiet. But the officiating in field hockey just has to improve. But this is also many years ago. But it was just that was intense. So now I want to get on to something else real quick. So you and I have March Madness going on right now. I just want to talk about March Madness real quick.
Yeah.
And then I want to get into Vybe Trib3. So with March Madness, did you do a bracket first of all?
Yeah, I did, Eric.
I did too.
Yeah.
And it was not good.
Sure did.
It was not good.
Well, you had UConn winning, right? I just listened to.
I had UConn playing Kentucky.
Okay. I just listened all the way through you and Rico's.
I appreciate it, bro.
Podcast, and it was great. And
thank you, bro. I actually am second in my bracket pool, but this bitch in front of me has Purdue versus UConn, so I think she's going to beat me.
It's so funny because when Rico,
he called out all my favorites.
When Rico talks about being very, what's the word he used? I love Rico's words. He reminds me of T.I. sometimes.
Yeah.
He's like, he's
Super
got a
intelligent.
vocabulary, bro. Yeah, and if he goes and hangs out in Atlanta for a week and visits his family, he comes back with a hard Atlanta accent. He really sounds like T.I. But no, when he says he loves debate, right?
Mm.
Oh my God, we used to get into it so bad back in the day, um, especially UKU with us stuff, and he probably wouldn't like this, but I used to debate him about the Lakers also because he's a Laker fan, and since he was gone and back, I'm a LeBron fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
He probably doesn't like that I'm a LeBron fan, so that like inherently I'm cheering for the Lakers, but it is what it is. He's got to deal with it. We're Laker fans together now.
The only thing the only thing I didn't get to talk to him about was the Kirk Cousins signing, and now that he's repping the Falcons this season,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Oh yeah,
I tried to invite him back to the Bengals fanhood, and he was like, ah, and then dude, with him being a Falcon fan, here's the thing that's crazy. You know what the odds the books are saying? It's like they're saying Falcons gonna win 9.5 or more.
oh yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
That's
Well,
because
I mean, dude's nice. Kirk Cousins is nice. I mean, he's coming back.
but he's only been to one
He
playoff
tore
game.
his Achilles, right?
Yeah.
Tore his Achilles, and he's 36. I
Yeah.
think
You think Aaron tore his Achilles?
I do. I don't know why there's conspiracy theories about that for real. Like, I think he was silly. I mean, not silly. Like, I like his confidence. I like Aaron Rodgers, to be honest. I think people don't like him because he's not afraid to speak his mind, and he comes off kind of arrogant and belittling to other people, which is something that is a problem within like the spiritual space. A lot of times,
Mm-hmm.
is you get people that use it to boost their ego and
Yes.
make themselves feel better than other people, and that's totally the opposite of what it's all about. Like,
For
it's
sure.
not about ego; it's about individualism and understanding and appreciating each other. So like if you're talking to someone that may not know as much as you,
Mm-hmm.
talking down to them is not going to do anything
No.
to help your case. You have to talk to people respectfully. You have to, uh, I don't know.
You have to understand. You have to understand who they are and like show them the respect that they kind of earned
Yeah,
or deserve.
it's
And
like
like,
preaching and yelling at people isn't going to do anything, right? So, but
and I'm hoping this injury for him this off season from a football standpoint. I'm not a Jets fan, and I'm not I'm a Bengals fan, of course, but like I would like to see just like competitive football, and
yeah,
just from a fantasy standpoint, and just from a football standpoint. I'm hoping that off season he can come back and be fired up because
I
it's
would love
always
to.
good to see some competitive
I'd love
football.
to see a good Aaron Rodgers for
But
at least another season.
but here's the only thing with the Jets. Now there's some rumors going on that the owner and the coach are getting into it a lot, and there was a big
Yeah,
fight at the NFL owners meeting.
yeah, I heard.
So it's just a lot of distractions with that team. So if they can get the distractions done, they can move on past
Mm-hmm.
it. But regarding March Madness, this Final Four is very interesting. That what makes me disgusted and sick is Alabama's in it. I hate Alabama. I might hate Alabama more than I hate Tennessee, and the only reason why I had a roommate for 2 years that was an Alabama fan, and if I hear Road Tide, it just triggers me. I get
Well,
PTSD and get a crick in my neck.
who won between Duke and North Carolina State? Did you see?
Oh, I haven't seen yet. Actually, that's a good call. Hey, we got breaking news on even though this episode's coming out Wednesday. I'm breaking it down for you. So we got breaking news
If
here.
you don't know by Wednesday,
North Carolina State 76, Duke 64. So the Wolfpack is going to the Final Four, and then Purdue beat Tennessee. So we have a nice Final Four.
I mean, that's perfect because like Tennessee lost and Duke lost today. Because like I'm just like I think UConn's gonna win, but I would love it if anybody else could do it. That's just how I feel. Like if Purdue could win or if North Carolina State could win, I would love that.
The thing about UConn is this. What's insane? I heard a stat today on sports radio. I was actually door dashing earlier, and Man, there was a lot of big Easter bonuses on DoorDash. Shout out to DoorDash. But the thing that was crazy was literally there's not been a fucking back to back champ in like 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
And what's crazy is UConn is so dominant
It's been
that
longer than that. It's been since Florida.
yeah, Florida. That's what. So UConn, or like yeah, it's been way over 11 years. And what's crazy is UConn. It's almost like their tournament. It's almost like the UConn Invitational for this March Madness because they've just been so dominant
Mm-hmm.
and they're so big, and they got three NBA players like on their team, and their coach.
I hate
He's very cocky and arrogant, and he's always been that way. But at the end of the day, he can kind of continue that dynasty UConn, and as a Kentucky fan, UConn's always brought an edge to us, or it's always been competitive. And sometimes I just can't stand their teams. I haven't like those teams when they had what was it, Villanueva and all those guys.
I hate it, bro.
And then what was the dude that the point guard, Kimball Walker, and then they just I don't know a lot of those teams. But here's the deal: my best friend Jama down in Nashville, shout out to Jama. He's a UConn fan. His family's from Connecticut, so it's always hard when I'm around him or his cousins because they talk that shit. And I hear Shabazz Napier, that name, and that just kind of it's just those kind of shit just makes you just cringe.
Yeah, that hurts, dog. I can't even lie. Like I'm 34, so like Christian Laettner, people talk about that. That doesn't even hurt. Like if you bring up Sam Decker, or you bring up Frank Kaminsky, or you bring up Shabazz Napier, or who was the first one?
Well,
First,
I'm gonna go even. I'm gonna even go far back. Andrew Bogut, man, when he played for Utah and he beat us in March Madness. That was around Cal's early years. I was like, Andrew Bogut, like really?
Yeah.
So,
man, it's hurt. I'm hurting right now. I can't lie. It's the 49ers lost the Super Bowl, and then Kentucky got bounced in the first round, and it's pretty much just turmoil around the program. And
I wish
as
as
much as I would want to like answer Rico, I agree with everything he said. Damn near.
No, for real. He nailed it. He nailed it on the dot. But the thing I was gonna say that you just naming off all those guys and like the feelings, it's like I think back on man, you know how many times it's been so close. You know how many times it's been so close, and it's getting to a point where I have faith, but it's got to get better.
So that's like the only thing. Like when it comes to Calipari, I don't necessarily think that you fire him because his buyout. If there was a guy that you could point to in college basketball and be like, "That's the guy,"
worth to pay 33 million and get
there's nobody there's nobody worth.
I agree with that, unfortunately,
and it's because he's still recruiting at the highest level of anybody, right? So you're still going to get these great teams that are exciting. And I understand that that's not what we're looking for anymore. But when he's open, if he's more open to people returning and not pushing them to the NBA, and he's more open to going at the transfer portal, although it's hard for us in the transfer portal because what senior wants to transfer to Kentucky if they're possibly going to play under a freshman?
True. Very true. Nobody
most of the time they're going to be able to beat a freshman out,
especially if they're a big man.
But if they're afraid of that competition and they can go somewhere where they're going to start no matter what, it's just it's difficult. But like if Calipari makes the correct changes, like people act like he does have a lot of ego, but it's not as if he didn't change his entire offensive philosophy this season when everyone was begging him to. He brought in John Welch,
yes,
who is basically the offensive coordinator that runs analytics, and that's
actually what we've needed. I think a coordinator,
and now we need a defensive, and we need to let Cal put these other responsibilities in other people's hands and let him be the overall like the puzzle maker.
Mm-hmm.
Like put everything together where it needs to be like you do. Have them buy into what we're doing. Be the ultimate motivator like you're able to do. But put the game planning
Yeah.
and the offense. Let John Welsh continue to do what he's doing. I mean, this year when we looked at our best, we passed like the Spurs, and we shot like the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like when we were really hot, we were, you know,
And we'd have those hot streaks too, where we'd go on those winning runs like for a few
yeah.
games, and it was.
And the other thing he
I
needs
love
to
this
stop
team.
doing,
I did love this team.
he needs to stop discrediting everything before March
Mm-hmm.
because I understand what he's doing. He's trying to take the heat off of these kids because they're so young. But you have to stop acting like
That's not important.
when we have a loss, oh, it doesn't matter for real. Or when we lose in the SEC tournament, this tournament doesn't matter. Even though he is right.
People live and breathe this team.
Yeah, but
like every year.
He's right. That tournament don't mean anything. It doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't help you in your seeding. It doesn't do anything, right? Auburn won the whole thing.
And they got knocked out.
And they went to the 4th seed, and we lost in the first round, and we were a 3 seed. So like, it doesn't help you. He's right, but you can't act like that because that's what's making our teams, in my mind, I imagine, that has something to do with why they're so tight when they get to the actual tournament game.
Well, I think it actually attacked the. It also just attacks the fan base in a negative way, in my opinion. It just doesn't need to be said like that. And I don't like. I don't always agree with Matt Jones, but a few things that he has said recently on the show, I actually agree with. And I said it a little bit with the Rico one, but they're not going to fire Mitch Barnhart, or excuse me, Mitch Barnhart just signed his extension, but he's going to retire at Kentucky. He does not want on his last couple of years to have on his record that he fired Cal because it could be really bad for him, and he wants to finish his legacy Kentucky strong. Number two, real quick, just a couple of this Matt Jones things that happened Thursday. A couple other things about regarding Cal, the separation, uh, kind of the division between all of athletics and Cal. Like, I mean, even Stoops and Cal don't get along. There's got to be more of that bond and more of that relationship. And I feel like Cal could get more money, more endorsement deals with that, and kind of think more for the program. And then the other thing that Matt Jones picked up on, which I talked about with the Rico one about a lot of guys trying to do business with Kentucky basketball and they haven't been able to. But the other thing is the piggyback off what you said, the $33 million buyout is one of the biggest buyouts ever. Like, I mean, Jerry Stackhouse's was 15 at Vanderbilt, but when you get to that big at Kentucky, like you said, there's not really a spot to fill that's worth that money because you're not only going to have to pay 33 mil, then you have to pay a new contract. Yeah. So Matt Jones, he piggybacked off that, but he had a lot of fans call in, and I understand fans are mad at Cal. I'm mad at Cal. I'm not going to act like a hypocrite and say I'm not, but I do agree with what you said. I've saw a lot of coordinators in this NCAA March Madness that are on these teams. I think that's what he's got to get more involved. But I just think that Cal has to really give it all this year. I'm talking about bigger than he's ever had.
Well, see, here's the thing, all right? Mm-hmm. I don't want people to get their hopes up when it comes to that. All right,
because this team's not going to be the same as this year's.
It's not. Now it all depends on who we're going to have return and all that stuff and what the roster ends up looking like. But all right, I think overall what their plan is, this is what we're going to have to it's going to have to be accepted as reality. I think.
Yeah.
I think the reason that Barnhart gave him that lifetime contract is because they're going to leave together. I think whenever Kyle's contract runs out,
but they don't like each other. They supposedly have a lot of conflict.
That's what Matt Jones said.
Yeah,
I don't believe that. I think Matt Jones doesn't. He has a vendetta against Cal. I personally believe that. There's no other reason that he does the things that he does, and then tries to act like his influence doesn't matter in the fan base when it absolutely does. Like,
he definitely doesn't.
Our fans are embarrassing a lot. They're very embarrassing. Like, it's a lot of hicks in the sticks, which is what I call them. Mm-hmm. And Matt Jones has to pander to them. They haven't liked Cal since the beginning, but they couldn't say shit for real for the first 7 years. And now they have something to say. But here's the point is you really don't know, right? Is is Cal uh, past his prime and like it's over for him and he's like on the way down, or is this his Coach K version of Lehigh and Mercer, right?
Ooh,
Now
yeah.
Coach K had a couple early exits that were bad losses when he was a top seed, and
Yep.
then came back and went to a couple more Final Fours and won another championship after those exits, and then went out his way. I think Cal is a Hall of Famer that deserves to go out his way. And the lifetime contract is also what people don't understand about that is it's not like a contract to stay the head coach for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
It runs out in 2027, 2028. And from now until then, the buyout goes down 5 million every year. Do I think like there's a chance that this team gets rebuilt and we get some of these players we didn't expect to get back, and then we add the freshmen and we add some experienced transfers, and we're
Does Reed come back?
and
You think he
I
can?
think he can. I mean, it's hard to see
See,
it, but
here's
I
the
think he
deal.
could.
Here's the
But
deal.
let me finish my
Oh
point.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
no, for sure.
um, whenever Cal gets like he's either going to be successful
Mhm.
this year or he's not. And if he has another type of exit like that, then the conversation is going to get more real between him and Barnhart about Cal stepping away. I'm an optimist. I still think Cal can do it. I still think Cal can make the changes necessary to where we're a deep run team. You know, he goes to an Elite Eight or a Final Four next year, even if he doesn't win it all, the Heat's not going to be there anymore. It's going to be like, oh, okay, like a team we really didn't have that much. Like this team we just had, extreme excitement.
Mhm.
Not as much going into next year because of what just happened, right? So a
You think
team,
Barnhart wants to stay on with Cal for the run because he thinks he can
my
get a title in his like
no, I
legacy?
just think that he just knows that's it's time. His time's coming up,
Mhm.
and like he said in that interview, he wants to leave the program the way like better than they got it. So I think him and Cal are together trying to get the NIL right, get all that stuff to where it's working right, get everything and all this transition of what's going to come. Because here's another thing: there's going to be more um, conference alignment, realignment, and
Mhm.
everything, and we don't know what's going to happen with all that. We don't know what's going to happen with the NCAA. We don't know about any of that, right? But Dwayne Peavy, who was Mitch's assistant, who
Yeah.
was like very close with Cal, he was like the middle guy between the two,
Mhm.
and now he's DePaul's AD. My perfect world is what they're doing is getting ready for Dwayne Peavy to take over because he was under Mitch and
Mhm.
he would take that job in a heartbeat.
Oh,
And
especially away from DePaul, probably too as well.
and he probably wants Dwayne to be the one that makes that hire
Yeah.
because he will be the new AD and it will be his job. So he'll make the new hire of the new coach when that time comes. So I think that's the ultimate plan, right? And they're not going to say that,
Yeah.
but as Kentucky fans, it is what it is. You have a Hall of Fame coach that deserves to go out. Like Terry Miners actually said this on a tweet that he
Mhm.
deserves to go out with a farewell tour and everything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean for everything he's done. So like
No, he's brought exciting years.
So I'm
I mean, for
hoping
sure.
that there's, either a championship in the years to come for his before his exit, or a deep Final Four run, or something that keeps the fans engaged to go till we get to that transition because it's going to be a huge. You know what I mean? We just have made a great hire for our women's basketball coach. Stoops is. I love Stoops. I think he's done a great job since he's been here. And from what I'm understanding about our NIL stuff in there, we're going to be one of the top teams in the SEC in NIL, which is going to be crazy
Mhm.
because we're typically not able to compete money wise with these other schools.
Yeah.
So just the transfer portal has been really nice to us in college football. So yeah, I mean the basketball stuff, I still believe in Cal, um, but I don't think that his mentality is going to change that much. You know, I hope that he gets a defensive guy in that can kind of head that like John Wells did, and we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I think ultimately the program's going to be transitioning at the same time, both of them. And that's what they're holding on for, I think.
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
think there's going to be, and like I said earlier, there's nobody that's out there that you're like, oh yeah, that's the guy. You know,
especially for 33 million. I mean, that number is crazy.
I think Louisville made a great hire.
I think they did. I think they
Accidentally,
did.
I think
Yeah.
they accidentally. I think they tripped and fell over themselves
Mm.
and did a cartwheel and then landed and
This
found a
dude's
guy
loyal as fuck.
that ends up that I think is going to be perfect for him. And yeah, everything that
He
Rico,
started the rivalry again, kind of.
everything
Yeah.
that Rico said about I'll be saying the same shit. If you're gonna go get Eric Musselman, or you're gonna go get Mick Cronin, or you're gonna go get whoever, you're gonna get those results at Louisville.
Yeah.
I agree. I think you go get someone that's new that hasn't had that challenge yet, that's hungry and sees the program for what it is and is ready to put it on his back and like really make a name for himself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what they got. And yeah, I like him so far as a Kentucky fan. I actually do. So, but yeah,
No, and Mick Cronin, the deal with him too is like, I think he gets a lot of hype just because he's probably the best results is maybe available. Like there's not a lot out there. It's kind of like when there's bad draft years, there's not a lot of. Sometimes there's just no picks. You're just relying on whatever's first. So all right, so I want to talk to you about Vybe Trib. So what's been up? What's the new update? What's going on?
well, so right now let's see, man, time flies, dude. Because I got so much going on. Uh, so I'll be trying to think of what the fuck is the date, right?
Yeah.
So it's March. It's we've been April 20th on 420. Will be our first year. It'll be our 1 year anniversary of being like in business, right? Whenever we
Congratulations.
did our first drop of release on T-shirts and stuff. So, but I guess it's almost been like a year and a half if you include everything that we did leading up to it.
Mm-hmm.
All the preparation and the research and everything we had to do to get ready to finally launch something. And so now we're just kind of in this period where we have a healthy store online. We still are at Riley Shop. What makes you smile? Gibson Galleries in the Highlands, and
Shout out to Riley.
shout out to Riley, my guy. And we're just trying to expand on more variety so that we can start dipping our toes in vending. You
Mm-hmm.
know, my next goal is just to it's the kind of the long term goal, long term, short term. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like is to dip my toe in vending a little bit. Like I want to do flea off markets and stuff like that around the city, or any local festivals, or in Kentucky that I can go to, or
Yeah.
maybe Cincinnati that'll allow me to do that. But I need to have more products ready.
Mm-hmm.
So we're working on a lot of different things. We're obviously we have 8 or 9 t-shirt designs with a couple hoodies, and I want to do some harem pants, which are basically what I'm wearing, like the like genie pants people
Yeah.
call them, with different designs on those. And I want to do flow stars,
Mm-hmm.
which do you know what those are? Have you
No.
ever seen those? They're cloth stars that people spin at
Oh yeah,
festivals and
yeah.
stuff, and they're just like they have different psychedelic designs on them.
Mm-hmm.
So one of our designs that are on our T-shirt, which is the time spiraling into a galaxy design, I made that into a flow star, which is also a Dapo star, but they're just flow toys that people use at festivals, like hula hoops or anything like that. It's a fun thing that you can play with your hands and spin it on your fingers and throw it in the air, and when you spin it, you can see the design. Um, so I made one myself, which is just a prototype, but we're doing those. I've always wanted to do like our custom incense, but we have our hat pins and just trying to expand on our variety of products so that whenever we want to get into vending,
Mm-hmm.
we have a big, nice setup that has a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So obviously it'll be a lot of clothes racks, but then we'll have a big table opened up and we're gonna do some books also. So I want to do books that are just empty notebooks for people to
Mm.
write to journal in and stuff, and different designs. But I also want to publish a book that's actually Aaron's writings. So Alex, shout out to Alex, my sister. She
Shout out to Alex.
she has sent me like pages and pages of Aaron's uh, like poetry and just writings in general that are in his phone. Like he wrote like a madman,
Wow,
and
that's
it's
awesome.
yeah, and it's a lot of inspirational stuff. It's a lot of dark stuff too. It's just like, um, but we kind of know what we would call it and
Mm.
everything, and it would be something that he would love. That I think is just an expression of him,
He'd love for
and
that to be out too.
yeah, yeah. So just little things like that that I want to keep expanding in, tapestries and uh, handmade jewelries and uh, pendants and wire wrappings and as many things as I can spread out and do. I want to do,
Yeah.
So it'll just be a lot of different things in the same space, basically, that I can start getting out there and doing more things. Obviously, we make tie dye stuff. I want to make tie dye shirts and bandanas also, and just keep on working and keep on building a brand with different ideas that we're thinking of all the time. And
Have you met a lot of new people while you've been selling this
yeah,
stuff?
for
And
sure. Yeah, we did like it wasn't. I'm not gonna count it as my first like vend, but there was a show on Thanksgiving called Thanksgiving
uh,
that we were able to go to because Riley was vending it,
oh, okay,
and
that's dope.
when we were there, like Riley was vending it, and he was asking me if I wanted to come bring my stuff up there and be at his booth with him, right?
Mm.
But somebody had backed out at the last minute, and they told me that I could just come and set up a little spot, and I could just go up there for the night. Which, like I said, all we have right now is T-shirts and hat pins. So it wasn't the most glamorous setup
Mm.
yet, but
Yeah,
it was dope to be there and to be a part of it, and
and you got the feel of vending
yeah,
there.
yeah, I
Like, yeah,
met a lot of people and we had a good time, and it's exactly what I envisioned for it, like just on a much smaller scale. Just being involved in it. I want to just be able to go to parties and be a part of the party and enjoy meeting all these people. And every summer festival season, I can go out and I can vend multiple festivals and bring a big group of my friends that we can all just you know pass around different times to be at the shop,
yeah,
because everyone has to take a different shift, and
that's dope.
if everybody just works one shift, everybody else can just go party the rest of the time.
Hmm. For the tribe, dude, like build the whole tribe
Yeah,
and be a part of it. That's
yeah.
awesome, man. So, what do you think with the brand that do you see each year coming out with new product, or do you see it like every 2 years, or do you see it as a lot more of like what? How do y'all go about the
No, it's
visions?
really, we're very independent, very small, and uh, self funded, right? So everything is just at our own pace and
Mm.
enjoying the journey. I don't get too caught up in timelines and all that because I'm always doing something. And as long as I'm always putting work in, like I'm always like playing on my phone and making designs or figuring out different things to do to build the brand, right? Like, and that's another part of building variety is whenever you're, trying to buy Google search ads, it has to be specific to whatever your product is, right? So right now, even if I put, uh, you know, t-shirts,
Yeah.
once I have flow stars and once I have tapestries and once I have custom incense and once I have booklets and different little things, then I can have a bigger search engine, and anybody that searches for something, right, it'll
Yeah.
go to my page first. But I just need variety first, before I
Mm.
can start doing all that. So it's just a little at a time. Like I'm making those Dapo stars right now, and just trying to perfect it before I can like put them on sale because I'm gonna make them handmade. You
Mm.
know, actually learned how to stitch for this, you know. So like
Yeah.
I just always like learning new things whenever I get involved in it. You know, like I press the shirts myself and I do a lot of the stuff myself
You
because I
want your
just
touch
enjoy
with it.
it.
You want your
Yeah, I think it's
contribution to it.
yeah, I just and I'm just like that. I like
Mm.
doing things with my hands and creating things. Obviously I'm a barber, so staying busy and always having things to do or whatever, I like to do that. Um, and I like to be creative, you know, like me and my girl sit and paint at night all the time, you know, like it's just the older I get, the distractions aren't enough. Like the meaningless distractions,
Yeah.
you know, like TV and stuff. Like to be honest, as in depth as we just went into basketball and the sports and stuff, the older I get, sometimes the less meaningful sports are to me.
Yeah.
To be honest, because it's almost, you know, at the end of the day, what does it even matter? You
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
like you win a
Mm.
championship, like that's great, you know, but I don't know. There's way more important things in life. Like we're
It's just
like
part of the ride
yeah,
kind of
like
deal.
I want
Like,
to like right now I want to well we're trying to get a house, right? We want to get a house soon, and then I want to buy a school bus
okay.
because I want to remake the inside of it as like an RV, like
Oh, that's
where you
dope.
live in it, you
Yeah,
know. Like obviously it's just for travel, but
that'd be cool.
I want to be able to go places and just see the world, like see like not even the world necessarily, you know, because I'm not made of money, but
Yeah.
but I want to be able to travel to all the national parks and just be able to chill in nature in some of the most beautiful places in the country, or you know, in Canada or wherever I can go,
Mm.
and I just want a little hippie bus that I can take everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And just
no,
ride
that's
all over the
dope.
place. And you know, the older I get, the more I appreciate the simpler things and just nature and love and all the things that I
And
really think is
experiences
important
too.
in life, you know. And you know, obviously, I'm a conspiracy theorist, and there's a lot of things, but it's not even conspiracies anymore because we're batting 1,000 right now.
Mm.
Everything's going on in the world. And we are batting 1,000.
We are batting 1,000, and it's getting crazier and crazier.
Yeah,
And the more you dive into it and think about it, it just some shit just doesn't make sense. But I'm kind of like you. I'm at a point in my life where I'm all about experiences and enjoyment. I mean, right now I'm in the debate kind of in my head if I want to move to Europe, if I want to stay here. There's a girl. Shout out to Emma.
uh-oh.
Girl I've been talking to over
Uh-oh.
in Wales. We've
Uh-oh.
actually known each other since 2010, and we've talked like we've literally talked every week since 2010. And like she got married, I sent her a bunch of stuff for her wedding. I got invited. Like we've just stayed in touch. Well, then she got divorced. Well, then we basically just talked about maybe like her coming here and then me going there. So she's gonna come at the end of the year, and we're gonna see what how we hit it off and
Yeah.
get her feel for America. And then I'm gonna go over there to Manchester, and she's from Wales, and she also has lived in like Romania. Like she was just in Milan the other weekend. And what's crazy is like we just talked on the phone today. She was actually in Liverpool today, and she was drinking with her friends. But no, she's awesome. So I'm ready to see what could happen, and I'm kind of open minded. I'm going with the flow every day of like I don't know what's gonna happen
Oh
in
yeah,
my life,
you
but
know how you are.
yeah,
I'm the same way.
yeah,
I'm gonna go with the
I
flow,
go with the flow.
motherfucker.
Anything can happen, but with this, I'm kind of just like, hey, if it happens, it happens. And she's told me she's saving. I'm also like, I'm saving for a lot of things too, like where I got some goals, I got some things, I got some movement going, but it's just at the end of the day, I'm taking everything day by day. But I get blown away by some people's, I'm not gonna say names, but just people's decisions and things people put online and shit is just crazy to me. But at the end of the day, all I'm focused on myself, and I'm staying positive, and I'm keeping it moving. So, but the thing at the end of the day, like I gotta say something else really fucking funny on this show. So I post on Snapchat a lot, and I'm not gonna say any names because I'm all about peace right now. But this like I'm not gonna say her name, but a female that I have not spoke to in like 3 years. Nobody that I've dated, nobody that just met her at a event, doesn't even live in this state. I do like a little snap of my brand new furniture,
Uh-huh.
and I work hard, and out of nowhere I get a message from somebody I've not spoke to in years, and it says, Is that furniture rented or is it bought?" And you know what I said? This ain't rent a center, bitch. So you waited 3 years to write me and ask me if it's rented or bought, bitch. Why would I rent my furniture? So I was so mad at her, but then you know what I said? I'm gonna keep it moving. I'm all about the peace. So I kept moving. I said my piece, and then it was kind of like oh, okay. Like, but then I wrote one of my friends and I said, "Am I tripping?" And they said, "Well, maybe they're looking for new furniture." And I was like, "That's what I want to hope. That's what I want to hope. That's what I'm gonna hope." So I feel like when me and Frankie do episodes, people get called out. But I mean, I'm all about the peace.
What if that was what she wanted? And you were just like, this ain't Renaissance, bitch. And she was like, oh no, I just wanted to see where you got it. I was curious. I like the set. I like the set that you got, sleeves. And you was just like, Renaissance, bitch. And she was like, "Oh no."
I'm working on things, but anyway, so no. It was just kind of like I was like, damn. I was like, where's this message coming from? You waited 3 years to ask this, shawty. But anyway, so it was just something funny. I had to mention. It was pretty funny when that popped up. But the other thing that has been wild, just talking about in the world, and just talking about with you having the brand and different things. I've been watching and hearing a lot of people that are trying to build more brands and get out there and develop. And I've seen that here locally and stuff like that. Do you ever see yourself collaborating with these brands that have been building develop? I see a lot of people online that and just in Kentucky in general, like have been really building. Do you see like Vybe Trib3 collabing with some people like on some maybe a shirt design or
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, I would love to. I mean, I've talked to artists about that. Some artists that we like have mutual friends with. Because like between me and like everyone that's involved in Vibe Tribe, it's like you know 5 or 6 people total. Like everybody's got friend groups and stuff. We've talked to different people that are interested in doing that and making a design that we can collab on. Um, I just think right now it's like trying to focus on building what we are before we do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like once I have once I grow to the side, like a place where I'm like comfortable being at flea off markets and stuff, and I'm doing that because that's like the first little like stage of what I've been trying to do.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, like I said, the plan is to vend. So once I get to that point where I can start doing little things here in the city, and I'm like able to get out there more on my own, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever want to like use something else
Yeah.
as a stepping stool or like and like that's not what I was talking about whenever I've talked to artists. These are just people
Yeah.
that just do art that want to collab, and that's great. I want to do that also, but I also don't want to like ask someone who has a brand that's established, like, hey, collab with me.
Oh, I get you.
To like piggyback off someone, you know what I mean? I want to do it on my own, and then once but I
Once
feel,
it's
but
established.
once I'm like, yeah, doing some flea off markets and things like that, then I'll feel like I'm in a place where I'm consistently meeting new people and growing organically the way I want to, and growing with because then at that point I have enough variety and items that I won't feel like I still need room to grow.
Yeah.
I'll be in a place where I'm like growing on my own already, and then I would probably like do more collabs with the artists that want to just do a shirt for us and split profits and stuff. before I would get to like a brand. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, it's no. I like everybody's stuff. You know, I learn a lot of things from other people and watch other people do things, and you know, there's a lot of ways to just try to like see what other people um, were successful with or didn't. You know, there's tutorials on YouTube and things like that. So I do as much research as I can to try to just grow little by little, but the organic way. You know, I don't want to have a bunch of like fake followers that aren't.
Mm.
You know, I want to be reaching people that really are gonna be involved in our space, which is mostly like hippie, you know, spiritual type people that are, you know, that want to wear like bright, powerful, um, positive stuff, you
Yeah.
know. Um, but that's pretty much it. You know, it's not that much of a niche because I feel like it's one of those things that anybody can wear. You know, even if you don't aren't involved in that space, like it's just gonna be, you know,
Comfortable clothing.
comfortable clothing. It's cool designs. It's got positive stuff on it. It's, you know, just ultimately supposed to make you feel better. You know,
So I want to ask you. You bring up festivals. Kind of a two-part question. What are some festivals that you're kind of looking forward to that you might be attending, and also just in the future, what are some festivals that you would like to attend that you know about that
oh,
you've
okay.
never been?
Oh, that's great. That's a great topic. So, I'm a big Electric Forest goer.
Hmm.
Electric Forest is one of my favorite festivals. Um, first festival I ever went to, Aaron brought me to Underground Sound in 2008 when we
Okay.
was kids still. So we were 18, and like I didn't know anything about EDM. He brought me to the festival, and um, had a great had a great eye-opening experience. And we had a, you know, because we just showed up with, you know, we each had a tent, and we had like about $100 between the two of us
Oh,
for like a 3 day festival. We were
wow.
kids, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Now he had
Oh, I get it. I get it.
he had cousins and stuff that were from Evansville that were all there. So we had a group of friends that like we hung out with, but it was just me and him for real, just partying and meeting people and doing a lot of acid and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like um and at 18 it was just, I mean, like a part, like something I never experienced before. It feels like a different world because things are so open and people were openly just, you know, exploring, doing things, you know, doing drugs and having a great time and, you know, connecting with each other.
Yeah.
So, um,
How much does electric forest usually run?
so
Has
Electric
it increased
Forest,
in prices over the years?
oh yeah. Well, and that's another thing. Not to be negative about it, everyone has a different experience, right? There's
Yeah.
50,000 plus people that go to Electric Forest. I went in 2017 and 2018, and then I hadn't been there until I went last year, 2023.
Hmm.
So it was a 5 year gap. And with most things, things become corporate, things get big, and it loses kind of what makes it special. Not necessarily the festival itself, it's still an amazing setup. It's an amazing art festival. It's way more than music. There's things to do inside the forest that you can spend all day doing, really. Like
Hmm.
there's like scavenger hunts and all these cool ideas that, you know, it just feels like a different world, you know. Um, People do openly take drugs. It is mostly party drugs that are safe. They there are drug testing companies that they sell testing equipment to test your drugs to make sure
Oh,
that
really?
you're doing the right stuff.
What are probably the most common drugs you think used in electric forest?
Uh, Molly,
Molly.
Molly's probably the most. Ketamine. A lot of people use ketamine now. There's a lot of medical benefits to ketamine now. Like you can look that up too. Similar to how mushrooms are legal in Washington State and stuff
Hmm.
because of their medical benefits. I don't personally do ketamine. I don't like any kind of state where I'm not.
I've never done it. Yeah, I've never done
Yeah,
ketamine.
well, it's a psychedelic also. It's
Okay.
just as a tranquilizer. So like if you do too much, you'll be
Is it legal?
no,
I see
no.
neon signs in some of the smoke shops when I was there. No, I'm sorry.
That's
I'm thinking
kratom.
of kratom.
That's
Sorry,
kratom.
I'm
That's
mixing it up.
kratom.
My bad. My bad. My bad.
You're goofy.
Yeah, my bad.
So,
I'm a little baked.
not kratom.
Baked
And
like a potato. My
no,
bad.
no. No, ketamine.
Ketamine. My
I
bad.
don't.
My bad.
Yeah, I don't do ketamine.
Yeah.
Um, I enjoy acid the most, openly. Um, I do mushrooms on occasion. It's mushrooms are very therapeutic. They they can once you've done mushrooms once, they can really relieve anxiety and depression for up to 6 months after you do them. There's a lot of medical benefits about that.
All I see is purple when I do them.
Mm,
I've done them probably 7 times,
mm,
and all I see is purple. And what was crazy was I went on top of a rooftop bar in Nashville, and I did them with my friend Hannah. And there was a guy
mm-hmm.
DJing. I'm trying to think of what his name is. DJ was going hard, but he's playing music, and I was on the shrooms. I was feeling it, but I got downtown, and we were walking back to like the parking garage area, and I'm talking Nashville looked like it was just painted
Yeah,
purple. And
yeah.
but it's crazy to me that like no matter what setting I'm in, I've always had a great experience.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody I'm with, I'm like, everybody's a
Mm-hmm.
violet hue. It's not like everybody looks like Grimace. I'm not saying that. It's not like a bunch of
Yeah,
grimaces,
right.
but it's just everything's purple.
Yeah, I mean,
It's pretty cool.
yeah, and like I'm not like
I wonder what that means. If that means something.
no, I don't.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody has different, you know, I've
Effects.
seen a lot of people act different ways on different shit, so
Mm.
it's just a wide variety. But yeah, I don't think that drugs are for everyone, you know. Like my parents, for instance, like my dad, he was an old hippie and he loves acid and stuff, and
Mm.
I'm just like my dad. Me and him are like very, very similar. And my mom doesn't. She said she didn't like psychedelics.
Yeah.
They just didn't. She just didn't like it. So everybody has is different. Me and my dad actually did acid together.
Really?
Me and my dad, we did a hit of acid together. When my mom went out of town one time, she knows this, but like she went out of town and I went over their house and brought us some acid and we just sat there and like we sat there and talked and he like told me like our family history and like all this stuff like but we had
That was
we
awesome.
had great deep conversation
Yeah.
and
That's dope, dude.
it was his first time doing it since he was young, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, like he hadn't done it since he was probably in his like 30s or 40s,
Did you have a blast?
oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
we were
yeah.
just sitting there giggling and shit like because he didn't have me until he was 45.
Uh-huh.
So my dad's almost 80,
Oh,
So
dang, my parents are almost 70, so
yeah,
yeah,
so
they
like
were older too.
he so yeah, he hadn't done it since before I was born, So like it was a cool thing to do together. I know some people that don't know about these things probably think this sounds fucking crazy, but like
Yeah.
it's really not. Like there's misconceptions about drugs, right? I think I will always say prescription drugs and opioids and any of those are cocaine. Any of those are what I consider dirty drugs, right?
Yeah.
Meth,
I hate
all that stuff.
cocaine. Yeah.
I've never even seen heroin in my
Yeah.
life, right? And I've had friends that have been on those drugs. I was just lucky when I was young. I didn't like opiates or how they made me feel, and early on, I learned that psychedelics was what I enjoyed. And I do Molly every once in a while at a festival.
I did it at Bonnaroo, and to be honest, it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mary gave it to me. Actually, shout out again to Mary Jarrett. I shouted her out last episode.
Mm-hmm.
She gave me some. We were all hanging out in a group, and we went there, and it was a blast. And I remember seeing Gucci Mane at 2 a.m. and it was fucking insane. Yeah. It was so dope.
So mostly drugs are mainly about education.
Mm-hmm.
So Molly, it's not as if Molly's good for you, right?
Yeah.
If you take
clearly
Molly,
has some issue. Yeah.
If you take Molly too much, too often, which I've met people just like this,
that do it daily. I've met people that do it daily, which is crazy.
And there's a lot of kids, like when I go to festivals, it's a wide range of ages, but there's a lot of kids you see that are, they go to 4, 5, 6 festivals a year and they do Molly the whole time.
Yeah.
And it depletes your natural
endorphins, right?
Well, yeah, your natural development of serotonin.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, once you've taken it so many times, your mind, you don't develop it naturally anymore. And that's like terrible for you. So, you don't want to overindulge on anything. Really, I'd wait until I go to festivals to do certain things. But I'm not a risk I'm not rich, so I'm not able to go to very many festivals. You know,
I mean, same here.
I
Yeah,
got kids, I got a business I own, and another side hustle business that I'm working on building, and there's so much, you know.
yeah,
I have one getaway a year, you
mm,
know, where I have a big blowout and I can go party and just let loose. Um, but yeah, I mean, and I do mushrooms throughout the year because it's a nice reset for me. But I don't do a whole lot of mushrooms where I'm like having a crazy psychedelic trip. I'm eating
mm,
like a gram of mushrooms where it's more than what a microdose is, but it's not enough to make you. You just feel good all day. You know
yeah.
what I mean? You just have a great clarity about yourself. I think psychedelics are very mind opening and can make like I make this joke all the time that I think that it should be a prerequisite that everyone should have to eat mushrooms before they graduate high school.
Oh, okay.
I mean, a lot of psychedelics include an ego death,
Yeah.
which is what a lot of people experience, and some people pretend to experience. So that's where you get like this mix of people in that space. Um, I've endured multiple ego deaths, right? And then ultimately, some people were scared to death of that because they live off ego, right?
Mm,
Everything's ego driven. Everything is about their ego, but that can be your downfall also because it's it's there's certain things in life that are just totally subjective,
mm,
right? If you're always in competition with other people, or
yeah.
you're always looking at someone else like competition, there's no way to ever really truly be the best at something
Hmm.
in certain spaces, right? Like
Yeah.
obviously there's sports, there's only one person that can ever claim to be the best at something. Um, I just think that the loss of ego is good for you. Um, you look at everyone equally. Like people can take it as a bad thing, I guess, but I just look at it like I am no better or worse than any other person on
Hmm.
this planet. We're all humans. We're all equal. We all have different perspectives from different upbringings. Anything that we live through in our life is another, like another branch of your life. You know what I mean? You have go up and you have this, this little branch that comes off of the side, and you have this decision that you make, and you have this decision,
Hmm.
and we're all just reflections of our choices in life. And I just look at things very simplistic, very
Hmm.
down to earth. I'm no better or worse than anybody. We're all human. We're all imperfect. That's what
Yeah.
makes us special.
Hmm.
So, um, but I've heard people like panic on that thought, right? Like when you're doing mushrooms and you're sitting there like, damn, I'm I'm like a speck, like a speck of dust. I'm one person in one apartment complex in one town, in one city, in one state, in one country, in one continent, on one planet,
Breaking down that. Yeah.
in one Milky Way, in one universe, and then you're like, what the fuck is
Yeah.
But to me, it's healthy.
Mm.
To me, it's a very healthy way to view things. It's
Well, it makes you realistic. It gives you a good realization on life.
Yeah, none of this shit is as serious as we think it is.
No, it's not at all. No.
We are lucky to be here. You enjoy. Like I wake up and you have a choice in how you want to take on the day. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it's not like I'm perfect and I just know everything, right? Like
Hmm.
I've had, especially losing Aaron, I had a long time that I was very in a bad place, and it took me a long time to get out of that. You know what I mean? People close to me can tell you that. Um, but ultimately, it's just a matter of like appreciating the time that you have because it's not long,
No.
and understanding that we're just humans. I don't get too up or down about stuff. Like I make a mistake. I'm human. You know,
It's all about
I
living
did
life
something.
to the fullest and taking everything day
Yeah,
by
and
day. I mean, really.
I don't really want a whole lot of pats on the backs for things.
Hmm.
Like I'm just like I just do what I think I'm supposed to do. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? I
Hmm.
don't need a lot of pat on the back for nothing. I don't need a lot of acknowledgement or any of that. Like I'm very private, quiet to myself person. Um, and I try to be like less and less opinionated every day. I think because I think one of the most toxic things in our society is social media and how it's made us think that our opinions are more important than they really are.
Hmm.
And it's not to be negative and say that people's opinions don't matter.
Yeah.
They do, but they matter to you
Hmm.
because we all got one.
Yeah.
Like I tell people this all the time like in a barbershop setting when there's debates all the time.
Oh yeah.
Never once have two people come together and started a debate, right?
Mm,
And at the end of it, one of them looks at the other and says, "You know what? You were right about that, and you've changed my mind." That's never happened in the history of debate. It's
mm.
never happened in the history of a barbershop. You've never seen two people. I've seen people get put into a corner on a debate and they still go out of that barbershop the same way they came in because you're not going to change someone's opinion, right? So, like, all
I'll
this.
be honest, at your barbershop when you were in Hikes Point there, I was sitting there getting my haircut once, and I had never seen such an intense talk over boxing. It
Oh,
was,
back in the day,
oh my, I'm talking boxing.
that was
It was intense. And some
that
of
was
them were
Floyd Mayweather Pacquiao.
people were screaming and
Yeah,
standing up.
yeah.
And I'm like over there like, hey Frankie man,
Oh, they
like
was getting it
this
was
is
getting
getting
heated.
intense.
It was
Yeah.
getting heated. I mean, and that's what's crazy. I've been a barber for 15 years now, so it's crazy what I've seen. Like all the debates that have been had at the barbershop, and like all the. I mean, now all we can talk about is Diddy.
Which is insane. Which I would love to talk about that before we wrap up the podcast because I have a couple questions and opinions on that. But
There's gonna be some deep shit right there, buddy.
let me well basically with the Diddy situation. So I watch a lot of podcasts and I'll smoke and I listen to radio and you just dive into all the shit you see online. And here's the deal about Diddy. It's like what the fuck? It's like and how many people have been um, attacked by him and abused by him, and then it's like his power is absolutely insane, and it's just one of these things that I don't think people realize how much power is in this in this industry. So let me ask you a couple questions about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because for people listening, if you're not familiar, so Diddy, of course, is P Diddy, Sean Puffy Combs, the hip hop mogul. But a lot of stuff's coming out here lately that he has not only sexually abused women and men, he's terrorized people, he's tortured people, he's also sex trafficked people. Also, it might be a case that he's not as rich as he comes off to be. So there's just a lot of stuff that's came out, and at the end of the day, it's not that I care or affects my life, but it is fucked up what's coming out, and I hope a lot of it's not true for like Meek Mill's sake and Stevie J's sake and all that because it's crazy. But um, he got raided here recently. His sons were involved. He's actually put his kids' names in a lot of his properties so they don't get seized when if the FBI raids more. So the couple of questions I want to ask you about it because you say y'all are talking about the shop. So um, what do you think happens to Diddy? Do you think that it's a case where he gets away and just kind of just goes to the rest of his life just with the hurt legacy, or do you think it gets to the point where he's R. Kelly and we don't, and he's actually taken away from society?
Oh, it's worse than R. Kelly, I think. I mean, I think it's Jeffrey Epstein. But like the thing about it that people don't realize is that there's people that are high. Like I wholeheartedly believe that the reason they're raiding his house is not to see what evidence he has that incriminates him, is to see what connects him to the people above him.
Oh,
There's a deep state in our government, right? It's a shadow government.
you think Diddy's involved with that?
I think Diddy's a puppet for
Well,
them, like Jeffrey Epstein was. You know, Jeffrey Epstein, they're doing the same thing. They have hidden cameras in all the rooms, and then he's providing them with prostitutes and minors to incriminate them, to find out what they're doing or what they're willing to do, and they use it for blackmail over them. I think that the elite, the people that are the powers that be, make sure that they have blackmail over people that have influence over our youth. And they make sure that whatever there's going to be, um, in the mainstream media is the agenda that they want. And that's why I think Diddy's just, I think Diddy was sloppy. And then I think all this started whenever Cassie made her lawsuit.
yep.
And once that started the ball, then he got caught. And
Once he settled, it was like now it's
now,
people kept it moving.
yeah, now I think people that are, yeah, I think they're raiding him to try to see what could connect him to the people above him so they can get rid of that shit. Because nobody above him, the people that run this world, the billionaires, I, I can't really say more than that, but
Yeah, no, I get it.
they're the
You
ones that
Well, I view it too as that this guy is this, like you said, he's someone did it sloppy. He got away with it, but I think that he got people involved with it too, and I think that
I think it's
people
multiple
spun
people.
off with it. Yeah, I think there's multiple people involved, and I think too this also opens up to what else do we not know, especially in the celebrity world, and you see who else. You think back to everybody that Diddy's been associated with, and it's mind blowing. And then you hear some of the artists that got away from him, and um I think actually I just read this week MGK broke off his deal with Bad Boy because of the allegations. So there's just a lot of, of course, there's gonna be fallback in situations like that, but it's just I think you're right. I do believe this is bigger than the R. Kelly situation. I do believe this could be one of the biggest sex trafficking operations of all time. But I'm also just wondering in the next couple of years who else is going to get brought down? What else is getting out there that's really big? And I think there's way more out there that's happening right now that's on a trafficking level like that.
Oh, I think there's a huge pedophile ring that's going on in Hollywood and our government, and I don't trust any of those people. I don't trust a soul. I mean, I'm not even one that really advocates voting and stuff because I don't think that it matters. Honestly, I don't think that they put people in that aren't, part of the game. Um, I could never vote for Biden. I could never vote for Trump. I could never vote for either of them. I
And you
mean,
feel like if you voted for the anybody else, it just wouldn't matter in your opinion. Right, pretty much.
honestly, I so
Because I
so I do think that
because
local.
I don't think anybody else would be able to even compete with those two.
Well, I do think local elections are semi-important.
I do believe them.
Um,
I believe in voting
so
just to give my opinion and even if it doesn't count, just to say it. But also at the end of the day, I think you're right on a national scale. A lot of
yeah,
that doesn't matter, but I
yeah.
think
I mean, ultimately,
it does. Locally, it does,
I think our country is the world's evil power in the world,
and we need.
and I don't think that we even hide it for real. All we do, I, I always say, we're a military. Like all our money, everything
Goes to military.
is we're a military and we're Hollywood. All right, we have a big Hollywood over here to distract us all from the military that's doing the shit over here. And that's the entirety of our society. And the rest of the world laughs at us because we worship these celebrities. We worship everybody we see on TV. And we're killing the rest of the world. All these poor people in these poor third world countries, we're killing them all the time. We have no reason for it. We're funding all the shit that we shouldn't be funding while we have people living on the streets here. We can't get anybody help in our own country. We want to kill all the people that have resources in other countries. I mean, where is, to me, this might be controversial, where is bad is Nazi Germany. Like we've never not been at war. We've been at war since our birth. All we do is kill poor people. That's what we do, and we don't take care of our own people. And we have the worst health in the world. It's embarrassing to be honest. So
No, and like I said, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and I agree. It's the healthcare system is horrible, and I do think that we attack countries and we get involved with a lot of stuff, and we do put more money towards military. The
and I
homeless and the mental health issues in this country is beyond belief, and we're pro violence. If you think about it, like, yes, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I fucking love pro wrestling, but I'm going to be honest with you. We are a country that loves violence, MMA, pro wrestling, violent movies, like you said, in Hollywood, war, crime, killing, guns. Like that's what our country
yeah,
is. A lot of that's about, and that core values, and it's kind of scary at times. And it's kind of that's where you have to draw a line, and where it's like sometimes you need peace over all that
Yeah,
shit because it's going to lead to all that shit leads to just destruction. But at the end of the day, I understand being in this country and you have to have, and I respect anybody that has served. And at the end of the day, I also understand you have to have some kind of military force to protect from crazy people. But at the end of the day, we have to use it for right. You have to use it for the right way. You don't use it to protect. You don't go
yeah.
use it to attack or to get involved. And that's where
Well,
I feel like we have to take a step back, like you said, and help our own nation before we start going out other places because we
well,
get
that's why like
messy.
everything the way it's structured now is fucked, right? Because everything's for profit. All they want to do is profit off of the citizens. Like you and Rico were talking about, like the jail system. It's all for profit.
Yes,
You know,
all for private prison right now is
yeah,
like one of the biggest profit
yeah.
things in this country. And to be honest with you, every time I drive past a prison on a road trip or anything, I get an eerie cringe feeling, not because there's prisoners there, it's because there is thousands of lives in there that are
Hmm.
literally being tortured.
Hmm.
And there might be a guy in there that literally had planned that we're smoking right now, chilling in this warm, nice house, but somebody literally could
Hmm.
be rotting in prison for. And I sit there and it just gives you this eerie feeling because here's the other thing. And and the thing that just hits me in my head when I reflect on it, I just can't put myself in the shoes of knowing I'm at a place where no one fucking cares.
Right.
And that's the toughest thing mentally to process for. And here's the deal, I don't plan on it, but for the people that are there, and I have a few people that are there still and I care about, I think about it all the time.
Hmm.
God damn, how do they sit there? It's not about them doing the time, it's about I care, we care, but it's like you being inside those people around you though that are supposed to be there to protect
Hmm.
you, and they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I
They're
mean,
there for a
and like
profit.
and like Rico said, like and then like our tax dollars is what pays, to house anybody that's a prisoner. So they're making money. It's like anybody with drug issues, right? I don't judge anybody because I've seen people go down bad paths, and it's one thing at a time. It's one wrong turn at a time that you never expect to get where you're at, right? So people have these drug issues that's ultimately created by our government, right?
Yes,
Nobody,
well that goes
most
back to the
people,
Reagan era.
most people don't get to heroin without going through a tab first,
Mm-hmm.
a lower tab, right?
Yeah,
You go to a lower tab, and you go to a Percocet, and you go deeper and deeper to
because you're
oxy.
craving that feeling,
It's all opiates.
and then when you do
A lower
heroin,
tab,
you get the best feeling of all time, and then it's
it's
like,
that's what I mean.
yeah,
Opiate, like it's the same shit. So like, yeah, it's one thing at a time.
but you'll never get it. You'll never get that high again until
Right.
you're always trying to get it again, but it never comes
Yeah.
back.
But the people, they're locking people up that have drug issues, right?
Yes,
You're locking someone up that has heroin on them. You think they're gonna make their court date?
no,
No, they're not gonna make their court date. Then they're gonna owe money. They're gonna owe more
they
money.
need
They're gonna have
rehab.
they're gonna have you know a warrant out, and they're gonna go to jail, and then they'll be in there for however long. They get out. They can't pay anything off. They can't pay their
No,
court fees or
they can't.
anything. You're just getting people in this loop that they can't get out of, when you should, like you always were talking about, we should invest in more rehab
Mm-hmm.
facilities that are to help people. They don't want that. They got a profit. Our FDA approves food that nobody else in the world approves.
Yeah.
Half of our shit that's at Kroger up here
Mm-hmm.
is banned if you go across the Atlantic.
Yeah.
So none of our society makes sense. It's set up against us. It's not.
It's population control in some ways.
Yeah, there's nobody in that office that cares about us. And
Mm-hmm.
people, the quicker they realize that, now I'll vote for RFK. I'll be honest with you, because everything he's saying is what I'm saying, and maybe he'll be just like everybody else. I mean, obviously he's not going to win because he's going to run as an independent. But just say for shits and giggles he did. Who knows? Maybe he'd get in and he would just be like everybody else and just do what the powers that be told him to do. But
That's what most politicians do, but you never know who's different, who's not. I haven't. I'll be honest. I got so involved with politics and government, working at Leo and working at different things afterwards, to be honest, I've taken such a step back where I've checked off from that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll follow what's going on in the wars or current news. Maybe once a week, I'll look up just kind of what's going on in news topics and maybe browse it on a web page. But then at that point, the only thing I'm really looking at news wise, and it's not because I want it to happen, I work in very rough areas of Louisville, so I would look at local crime, look at what's going on, and to
Right.
be honest, I have a lot of issues in some of my apartment complex, so I track a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, but besides that, I'm focused on positivity. I've said this many times on this show. On social media, all I post is positive stuff. All I talk about is
Mm-hmm.
positive stuff. When people see me, it's positive. I
Yep.
yes, I try to always be positive, but at the end of the day, I'm not perfect. I do negative things too. I get mad at certain things, but at the end of the day, I've really been focused on being better, helping people, being more positive, but also at the end of the day too, taking a step back from reality. My circle, I've made it smaller. My my work at work, I've made it smaller where of just like kind of letting people in, enabling them, and helping them with things like what I'm basically getting at is I've taken a step back and focused on myself, and it's
Mm-hmm.
helped so much tremendously that things have improved in a lot of different ways, and I feel more of control on things, and it's a good feeling. But at the end of the day, too, there's a lot of sacrifices with it. But it's just crazy that I don't know. It's just crazy, like some of the stuff that you said there about like the food and the different things. Like my friends overseas ask me so many questions about living in America, in the country. And what's crazy to me is that they will see an article or see something and they'll write me or call me on like Snap or be like, "Are you okay?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Hey, Kentucky's 1,100 miles from New Jersey or something like
Yeah.
they'll see something in New Jersey. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not close there, but at the end of the day, I tell them that that's very common here. And to be honest with you, what's something that I was talking to you about it before the podcast? Shout out to Bailey and Stephanie. Stephanie was on this season. It They live by Dairy Castle.
Mm-hmm.
I play Madden with Bailey all the time. Somebody just got shot in front of Dairy Castle. I used to date a girl that lived in that house too as well. I was there all the time. I've hung out with Stephanie there all the time. Where I've spent years at that house, and I've always felt safe, always felt comfortable, and I still will. I'm not like living. I'm not, and also I'm never going to live in fear. But just for that to happen there, it blows you away, and it gets to a point where I've been mad at people, but it's never to a point where I'm going to go shoot them. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like people just gotta fucking chill out. And I think if people smoked, and I think if people took a step back and just let shit fucking slide, it
Mm-hmm.
get a little better. And I'm working on that as well.
Yeah.
I really am. But I think
See,
I see a lot of balance with that
all
shit.
that is people not loving themselves first. You know, the
That's what
people
that
that are
yeah
angry, people that are filled with hate, they don't like themselves, and they're that's how people react. Um, which is back to the psychedelics and stuff. Like that's part of the ego death. You learn to love yourself because you don't put so much pressure on yourself. You don't have to be so perfect. You know what I mean? You understand that you're flawed, and every lesson is another step forward. And you know, um, I try to I try to tell my girl that all the time. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself. And I've been able to do that in a lot of ways. Just staying positive all the time. I know that it's gonna come back around, and karma's real. So I just try to do right and do right by the people that do right by me, and that's where a lot of people have lost. A lot of people don't have uh, they don't care about life anymore. They don't see this, what's so special about life, and that's sad to see. There's way too much violence in our world. Um, but again, I think it comes from Hollywood. Like I honestly do. I think our society is so built to be so violent and so negative and
yep
so toxic. Everything, for every J. Cole's, there's 12 whatever, bunch of dudes that are just spewing a whole bunch of hatred and terrible, vile shit. And I hate to be like that, but movies are the same way. It's all to condition you to think a certain way,
Well, that's why
And you have crazy
people
people.
are obsessed with trap music now. Like that, I'm saying, like in the violent music and those lyrics and stuff. Like I love rap music. I still listen to some of it, but I'm saying that's promoted too. That's
Yeah, I
like
mean,
Hollywood. I'm saying that's just
yeah,
piggyback on what you're saying.
people know me. Like I'm a huge hip hop fan,
Yeah,
but
same here.
when I grew up, you know, you have to be willing to change when you're presented new information. You
True.
know what I mean? So like things that are just because something's nostalgic for me,
Mm-hmm.
not all the times can I just let that be all it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like you're not gonna agree with me on this, but Eminem,
Yeah.
I can't really listen to the old stuff anymore. No matter how much I used to listen to that all the time, because it's just not
We
who I.
listen to it a lot.
It
We
just
listen
doesn't
to it a lot.
reflect who I am as a person. It should have never, right? It was shock value music that was, very well done, and like Eminem's a great rapper. He's good with words and stuff. But there's a lot of music you grow out of, and I just don't go back to it. I focus a lot on listening to stuff that makes me feel uplifted and happy.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much all I listen to, and it's a bunch of different genres.
Yeah.
There's a huge span of genres, but it's only really positive, happy, uplifting stuff. Obviously there's thought provoking stuff, but it's not ever like detrimental to my like soul, basically.
Yeah.
Like I care about a lot of that. Things that are detrimental to your soul that you don't really think about being detrimental to your soul when you're doing everything that if it's a show that everyone's watching on Netflix and it's like, oh, I gotta watch that. I don't think we're aware enough about what we're consuming and you know how available terrible shit is to us now.
Oh, it's. I mean, yeah.
Because in the '90s,
Everything's available now.
you can
Everything's
see a
available.
video of war right now on your phone.
You can see anything you want right now.
Yeah, anything you want, right?
Anything
And we were
you name
kids.
it right now.
When we were
You can see
kids, you
it.
couldn't, but now young kids have everything at their fingertips as we did. Like we never
Because
did.
everybody has a phone.
Yeah, so a lot of things are scary.
Have you thought about this? Like talking about, okay, so you bring up the Eminem thing. Like I totally get that, but I'm not going to
Well, and I
stop.
don't think he's very good now either. Ever since he came back after he got sober, you know what I mean? Like,
I did like Marshall Mathers too, but I definitely don't think he's the same. But I love him still, and M's always going to be a part of my life. But I will say this: I agree with you. You're not going to see me rolling in my Hyundai listening to Kim,
yeah,
and I'm not going
right,
to
yeah,
sit
yeah.
there. I'm not going to sit there and listen to Amyville. Like that kind of stuff
Yeah,
where
no,
like
I
I'm not
get
going
it.
to listen.
I'm not trying to like say anything with
No,
anybody
no,
that does.
no.
You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like,
I'm saying I'm just not gonna. There's some songs I'm not gonna go back and listen to,
yeah, I
but
just
like
grew
some
out of
of
a
them
lot
I
of that
will.
stuff. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? And I'm not even pretending to like it's not like I know everything about everything, right?
yeah.
Like everybody's different.
No, it's your
People
opinion.
react different to different things.
That's why I have different people on this show. Everybody has different opinions. I never talk politics or religion, but I also let people say different things. And you listen to my show, I've had so many different opinions. I have my own opinion on things. And when you've been on before,
Yeah.
we've shared things. And to be honest, the things you're sharing is thought provocative. And here's the thing: it's not for everybody to agree.
Right.
And also, the things I say, not everybody's going to agree. But I also think at the end of the day, everybody's opinion does matter. Like everybody has some opinion, as long as it's positive and it's not some fucking about killing people or fucking promoting negative shit. But I do believe though, the one thing I have to say, there has to be some change soon, just overall, because people are very just like I said, just so violent mindset. It needs to go back to just more people guys got the positive vibes. People need to light one up. I mean, that's my opinion. Light one up.
There's just too much division, too much hate. You know what I mean? And like,
let me say something about Hollywood real quick. I want to say something. So this is something that bothered me, and I talked about this on season 4. And Frankie bringing this up. So something that pissed me off about Hollywood, and you talk about division. Oh my gosh, ring on the head. So it's an election year. And I don't give a fuck what side you're on. It's never going to be positive. It's not fun. It causes division, especially in this country. And it's what everybody fucking talks about. And it's been like that in the past. And also, everybody knows that the past like 4 to 8 years, it's been almost civil war tension between extremists on all the sides, and also just everybody having an opinion and COVID and all that shit. For what really pisses me off is I'm all about safety and all about people being all right. And I just want peace in life. I mean, that's what I think everybody really fucking wants is just some peace. And I see this preview the other day on YouTube that comes across between one of my videos. And it's some movie that has like Kristen Dunst, if you would, called Civil War. And it's basically reflecting this almost South versus North deal, but it's current. It's about the political thing that happened recently and shit. I don't think that should be promoted. I don't think that should be a movie, even if it's fictional. People should go and get those ideas and bring that Civil War division up. I don't think people realize how fucked up the Civil War is. There was so much bloodshed. There was so much division. It had so much after effects. It was important, and I'm glad it happened because it freed people, and that's what was the whole purpose of it. But I don't think people wanted it again. I don't, and I don't think anyone needs it or wants it. And they need to wake up and realize, like you said, people copy movies, they copy music, they copy the stars. Seeing a fucking movie about it, it just gets ideas. That's not what we need. During a fucking election year, we need unity. That's the whole point of the fucking country if you do have any fucking faith in it. So I just had to give my 2 cents. Just talking about you brought up Hollywood in politics. That really irked me that that's a movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think yeah, you're right. There should be no war. There should be no war. There should be no conflict. But it's all media driven. When you really break it down, the media is all ran by the same people that run the record labels. It's all the same. And
Atlantic
and I'm not
records for sure.
blaming I'm not blaming young people that are making money in hip hop or any genre of music, right? It's about the people that are choosing who's a star and who's not, right? Because
You're not talking about the actual artist. You're talking more about or the artistry. You're talking more
about
about the
the
people
overall,
behind the scenes,
the
the ones that
overall
are
agenda,
controlling the narrative.
the overall agenda. Yeah,
Yes.
they want it to be violent. They want it to be negative. They want people in a negative headspace. I mean, people think Kanye's crazy, but he always talks about 808 drums and the different frequencies and all this different music that um, makes you react in different ways. They put stuff in music to affect you negatively, and people don't realize that. But that's
Let me ask you your opinion about this because you like live music and you're a concert goer, and then we'll wrap up here. So you brought up Kanye. So Kanye and Ty Dolla Sign, they're friends. They collab on stuff. I've always liked Ty's music. So they're doing this tour where they're just doing listening parties where they're playing music and they're there. What do you think about that? What do you think of people paying for these stadium and arena listening parties instead of concert? They got a lot of flack for doing that at Rolling Loud. They were the main event, and people thought they performed more, and it was more of them just playing music and talking and dancing around and just kind of ad libbing. Do you feel like
I did not know about that.
yeah? So that's like they're doing one in Nashville at Bridgestone. Like, do you feel like I'm not saying I wouldn't go. I wouldn't say that I pay big money for that. I'd pay like general admission, but I'm saying I would go maybe just for the experience to see it. But I also think that is not something that I want to stick. I hope that I hope experiences like listening experience like that. I hope that's not the new norm for live music.
I doubt that would be a norm anywhere. It's probably just Kanye trying to,
Try something different.
make himself bigger. I don't have any hate for Kanye. I don't.
No, I know. I just was bringing that up. It's just
I
weird.
just don't know what the point of that is, to be honest. Um, I think that yeah, I think he does things to embellish his stardom, you
Mhm.
know, and um, but yeah, I think he should just perform. Personally, you
Mm.
know, if you're gonna do a tour, you know,
Yeah,
like you
especially.
do one listening party, you know, you do a listening party and then you release the album. You don't release the album and then go on a tour doing
Mm.
listening parties. You know, it just seems weird. But
I saw the shit at Rolling Loud, and I was like, I wasn't at Rolling Loud, but I was watching online, and I was like, this is different. And I like Kanye, and I'll be honest, I've seen a lot of artists live, but he's one I haven't. But and I know that he'd be a good experience, but it's just funny to hear that. So. And things are changing in the future, so it just gets crazy. But I want to thank you for being on the
well,
show.
before we go,
Yes, yes.
one thing I forgot. So just last little topic, the festivals. I forgot to give you a
Oh, the
list.
ones that
Yeah,
yeah you
like
want to go
so
to.
Forest. I love Forest.
Yes.
Right. We're going back to summer camp this year, which is we've been to that 3 times. I've been to summer camp 16, 17, and 18. 2016, 17, and 18. And this is my first time back to that. It's more of a small hippie festival. So it's like 25,000 people, you know, compared to like Bonnaroo has like 100,000 and
Mm,
Coachella has like 500,000, stuff like that. So
that'd be cool.
summer camp is like my low key. Like I really like it because it's never gonna be too corporate where it blows up, right? And it's a uh, but it's a really fun festival. There's like jam bands and EDM mixed, so it's like you go back and forth whatever you want, and they party till 4 in the morning, and you know, just a dope little 4 day festival. Um, Electric Forest Summer Camp. I really do want to go to Lost Lands
With the
sometime.
dinosaurs. I want to see
Yeah,
that shit too, to be
Lost
real.
Lands is Excision's festival. Excision is one of my favorites, and there's always a crazy show. I've never been there.
Have you talked to anybody that's been to Los
Oh yeah,
Angeles?
oh
What do
yeah.
they say about the
Oh,
dinosaur shit?
oh yeah, it's just dope. Cause like
I would love
a
to
lot
see
of
that.
Excision's music has that type of sound in it. You know what I mean? Where it's real heavy and like dramatic, and it has like dinosaur noises and roars and stuff. So Lost Lands is one. Uh, I really want to go to. I think it's Base Canyon, which is in Washington State.
Mhm.
So any kind of festival out west, I really want to go see. Like they have the Red Rocks in Colorado,
Yep.
and the Red Rocks is like one of the most famous amphitheaters for the acoustics. It's like some of the best natural acoustics that they have in the
Mhm.
country. Um, Base Canyon though is in the Gorge in Washington State,
Ooh, that'd be cool.
and I want to go to that. Because I've heard some great things. I think I would vibe really well with like Washington, like people out in Oregon and stuff. I don't know. I
Real
know.
laid back people. Shout out to Adriana Laundry or Adriana Landry.
Yeah,
She just moved out to Portland. She goes back and forth from like Little
yeah.
Portland. She's out there.
So I would really like that vibe out there. So I want to do that in the coming years. And all those are idea places that I would like to visit. You know, because it's not going to be like I can hit everything every year.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be limited, which
Go
is
to each
good.
one and try it out and
Yeah,
stuff.
but Tomorrowland is probably the one
Mhm.
like biggest goal, but I might not ever go until I'm like 50. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because it's one of the most expensive ones, right?
Yeah.
Like thousands and thousands of dollars. And you got to get your ticket when they go on sale because they sell out. But it's in Belgium,
Oh, that'd be cool.
and I think it's the biggest festival in the world, and there's people all over the world that go.
That'd be
So
nuts.
in the like, you should watch one of the recap videos one
Mhm.
time because it's showing you just a recap, like a 10, 15 minute recap of the whole weekend. And in every one of the sets, then you'll see these huge crowds and they all have their flags.
Oh shit.
So like you would meet people that you would otherwise never meet.
Mm.
And that idea is like
That's
amazing
insane.
to
That
me, you
sounds
know.
amazing.
But you have to it's like thousands of dollars because you are going overseas, so you have to be able to um you get like a
What genres is it?
canopy or like a living space. You know what I mean? Like
What
for the
genres
weekend.
is all that?
It's more like house music.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a big EDM party, but
Mhm.
like in Europe, their EDM and our EDM is different. You know, I mean, house is the same,
Yeah.
but they like house and techno, I believe, more than we do. I think we more like dubstep and heavy bass and stuff like that. You
Yeah.
know, it's there's more of a build to those, and you know, more transitions and stuff. House and techno are a little bit more repetitive,
Yeah.
but in Europe they do more of that. You know, so that's the only downfall for me because I don't really like house and techno. I like house more than techno,
It'd be more for
but
the
it's
experience.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
more the experience,
That
right?
would be fucking lit, yeah. Because I love just connecting with people, especially on an international level. So I
Yeah,
think that would be dope. The thing about Lost Lands is just I don't know. I just always have loved dinosaurs and just animatronics and shit
yeah,
like that. So I just think that would be just sick.
right.
But I want to thank you again for being on the show. Before
Appreciate
I
it.
let you do your, I want to have you do your little shout out how to connect with you. But I want to thank everybody for listening, tuning in, and downloading. This season's been great. I got about 11 episodes coming, so I got some more guests. Might do a couple solos as well. You never know what's up my sleeve. Also, the party foul moment. I thought about it while we were podcasting. I might not even edit it out. We'll see. We'll see what it's like. Just maybe bring some humor to the show because this was a great episode because we covered so many topics, and I'll have to go back and listen to the footage. But other than that, this has been just a lot of fun. If you want to reach out to Frankie regarding Vybe Trib, or if you want to buy a product or support, or you want to reach out to him regarding festivals or anything, how can they get in contact with you?
All right, so I am no longer on Facebook. Um, Honestly, my shit got hacked and deleted, but it was kind of like a sign because I really don't like Facebook and I really don't like social media. I do use it out of necessity, mostly just for Vibe Tribe. So the only really way, I mean, there's really honestly no reason to reach out to me. Just go to Vibe Tribe on IG. It's VYBETRIB3. Um, and that's also the website, vibetribe.com, VYBETRIB3.com. We're on Instagram. We are on Facebook. Um, I don't control that. My sisters do, and I control
Shout out to
IG.
Grace too. We have
Shout
shout
out to
out to Grace.
Grace. Shout out to Alex. Shout out to everybody. Love you guys. Shout out to Jenny. Shout out to my daughter Erin. Shout out to my son Will. I love you guys. And
Shout out
uh,
to J Town. So I just
shout out to
yeah,
J
yeah,
Town.
shout out to J Town. So I just want to say this.
Mr. Durham.
Yeah, shout out to Mr. Durham. So he does have a Vibing with Sleazy t-shirt, Principal J Town. So but vibingwithsleazy.com, the website, you can listen to all past 4 seasons. Fifth season will be up after this season's over. You can listen on all the platforms. I want to also let people know I'm going to have another international episode. I'm excited. We'll be live from Italy. Got my boy Max Tweedy. I met a dude freestyling on the corner of Hilltop Tavern in Louisville, and he was British. And I battled him when I was drunk, and we've now became lifelong friends. And he now lives in Italy. So I wanted him on the podcast, and he was like, "What?" I'm trying to do my worst, my best. What are we going to talk about that again? I'm like, or that was a horrible British accent, but he's basically asked me, and I just said, dude, we're going to talk about your life, bro, and how we met and shit. So that'll be a fun episode. But yeah, thank you for everybody listening. This was a long one. I hope y'all enjoy it, and we are out. Peace.
Peace.